Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
Tuesday morning, I walk into the office and Deuce is already, what's your draft breakdown? This, that, the other thing. I was like, Mike, we just got back from the Super Bowl yesterday.
No, turn the page.
Got a poll?
Yeah.
Okay. How big's your poll?
I've been to so many, he's like, take a lot of pictures because it's all going to be a blur. And so I tried to do that day after
Fred's
day.
not happy with that.
Everything.
Fred's anti-picture.
I'm
Oh,
with
yeah.
Fred.
If you're at something cool like the Super Bowl or, Italy or whatever, what I don't like is taking pictures of yourself at these places. Like, what's the point?
And then they get their butts kicked in the Super Bowl by a really good Seattle defensive front, and now all five of them need to go. And it's just like...
You can do that stuff on your time. I don't get into the Shirley Temple. Does he need to be a little bit more the check down Charlie at times and strike a balance?
For it, sure.
It would be nice if they had check downs for him to throw the ball to.
Okay. I didn't mean to trigger you.
I was dancing a little too hard.
That's good.
Mike is hugging more of you.
I'm glad you had a good time.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Tuesday here at Gillette Stadium. We're in the throes of the off season. Still, kind of talking about the Super Bowl and the aftermath and, what that means in the grand scheme of things. So we'll do that. We'll talk about free agency. I see Paul came with a big list of all the available FAs and UFAs.
It's an alphabetical order.
Yeah, we can get into that.
One by team and one by position.
Yeah.
Paul's rankings. He puts them out every year. His top 500 free agents.
It's just the whole list.
Maybe a little bit of draft, although warning, I haven't started my deep dive yet. Have you?
I did dive in the last couple of days, actually.
Okay.
Tight ends and edges.
Evan never stopped diving, so
No, he did. Last week he
he's
wasn't-
been in full draft speedo
Evan's
for the
got his
last
eye
couple
on
months.
On a safety
Yeah.
out of Toledo
Yeah,
who doesn't have good eyes.
yeah.
Just like read option, and he's just looking the wrong place. I'm
Bro,
like, where are you going?
It's
dude?
Evan.
Seriously, I walk in the bullpen today, Freddie, and he's got a Toledo game on, and I go, Jesus, F, we're into match.
Are they the
What are we doing?
Mudheads? Mudheads?
Well, I believe
Toledo
so,
Mudheads?
but
Yeah.
but they have a first round safety that a lot of people like, and Quinyon Mitchell went to Toledo too, so it's not like they never produced.
No. Every team every once in a while has their guy.
I was just.
I know.
I
I'm just saying.
haven't started either. I'm with Freddie.
Wyoming had Josh
haven't
Allen.
gotten into it.
Yeah. All right.
Wyoming had Josh Allen.
Yeah.
You never know.
You never know where they're
It's
gonna
Evan,
come
it's
from.
Paul, it's me, it's Deuce, it's Matt and Alex in the booth. And 855-PATS-500 is the way to call the show. Podcast at patriots.com is the way to email the show. So where do we start? Do we start with any of the comments that have been thrown around post-Super Bowl or anything like that? And,
I think the Terrell Williams, Zach Core thing is probably where.
Yeah.
At least it's.
That's
the
kind of the
newsiest.
Patriots headline.
Yeah.
That's the newsiest
Who
news.
wants to throw that out there?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got to interview somebody. So they're going to promote Terrell Williams to a high-ranking team official. I don't know what that position would be. Maybe
Assistant head coach.
assistant head coach, something like that.
Yeah.
Makes sense, though. We were at the media night, and Terrell Williams was standing out there for full hour just about, and he fell down. It seemed like it was still asking him a lot. I mean, everyone was so excited to be around him and talk to him, and it was a great moment. And then you were reminded that he is still recovering. So it seems like they got to do their Rooney Rule stuff. They got to interview external candidates for the defensive coordinator
I was
position.
gonna ask that.
I don't know
I've seen
exactly.
differing opinions on that.
Oh, do they? I didn't know that.
You have to interview at least two minority candidates. They can be virtual. These don't have the head coach interviews have to be in person. These ones could be virtual. But yes, technically now we can talk about. To me, that makes no sense. Like they have a guy that just called the defense.
Zach Core is going to be the defensive
He
coordinator.
called it for 20 weeks of the season, including a run to the Super Bowl. He's obviously earned it, and now these minority candidates are really going to have what are not real interviews, and they're just being forced to do them, which I think is kind of crazy. But I guess they will have an opening at inside linebackers coach.
maybe
So this might-
Vinny De Palma,
Right.
maybe.
So they might be able to
Yeah.
use some of these interviews as a way to kind of
Get to know people.
Yeah.
And it's good for them to be known.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just say I'm a little disappointed for Terrell Williams. I mean, this was a huge opportunity for him this year to finally be named a defensive coordinator. He's been in the league forever. He's been a defensive line coach for a while, and I'm sure he was waiting for this opportunity, and he finally gets it, and he gets, not only hit with cancer, but I mean, he's, dealing with multiple health issues. So, but huge opportunity for Zach Core. These are the kind of things you see happen where opportunity opens up, a guy comes in and, really does a good job, and now I think he's going to earn.
I mean,
earn the
for
defensive
Patriots
coordinator
fans, I think it should give you a little bit of comfort that Josh McDaniels going to be back, Zach Core is going to be back, so there's not going to be any wholesale changes to the system.
Ashton Grant too. We should mention that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
the Raiders were interested in him. So yeah, just continuity for Drake and to have a second year with Josh. I'm also interested just to see, now that they really know Drake inside and out after a season with him, how does that shape their offseason plan? We talk about what kind of weapons do they target, what kind of tight ends, what kind of receivers, go best with Drake with his deep ball accuracy, his, maybe this is incorrect, but my feeling preference of, bigger targets that he likes those. So, how do they continue to not only tweak the playbook, but the roster around Drake and build around him? This is the time to do it,
So there's been a lot of talk, especially on Paul's shows, about Drake's demeanor during the Super Bowl and how Vrabel seemed to have to follow him around, prop him up, and he was really down. And, I kind of agree with some of the comments I heard on Paul's shows. He needs to be out there and be a leader.
Yeah.
He can't be the one moping.
Yeah.
He's got to be the one propping everybody else up. And you hate to compare anyone to Tom Brady, but Tom Brady never gave up. Like he'd be pissed, he'd throw his helmet.
He'd be pissed.
But he'd be pissed and he'd throw his helmet, but he'd be like, we need to do better.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't be it with him, within himself. He'd be out there talking to the offensive linemen, talking to his receivers, urging them on. Obviously, there were times where I remember regular season games and certain seasons where he was just sitting on the sideline fuming. But that's something I think Drake needs to work on. He's young.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has someone that he talks to, like a sports psychiatrist or somebody that he can talk to about things like that. But I wouldn't. I don't think it would hurt.
I kind of agree with you, Fred. I mean, it seems like a sports talk media point, but I like you, I kind of agree. And Brady would get so pissed, and you could tell like he would be disgusted, and he'd be walking off the field, and the offense could feel that. He was the one who held the offense accountable. I haven't seen all the mic'd up stuff. I know Morgan Moses, I think, was also recorded giving like kind of a pump up speech. So it's something Vrabel's been trying to work with Drake May all year on, being more vocal, being more in command, and holding guys accountable. You can only hope all this experience will help point him in that direction. But I agree, he's got to be the guy that.
I think he does, and so I don't want to make too much of it, but going forward, I think that's something Vrabel will certainly continue hammering away at him. And I think it needs to start in the spring. Yeah. The moment he gets back in the building, I think if I was Mike Vrabel, I'd sit down with Drake May one-on-one and say, this is your team. I want people to look to you for the leadership and make it clear that that's what I expect from you.
Yeah, and you've played in a Super Bowl now.
Yeah.
Like, you've gone on the road in the playoffs. You've played in an AFC championship. There's not saying he's checked all the boxes, but he's kind of checked all the boxes in terms of challenges you can face. So now you got to start owning it, and you got to start holding the rest of the offense, up to account.
Yep.
You got to play up to that speed too, as well. That's that was the thing I was thinking about. Is like during the game where you're like, freaking 6-0, like come on, and you're so used to
one play,
that Tom Brady thing where you knew he was going to kick in. But I also think of the Atlanta Super Bowl where they fell down 28-3, where they were moving the ball, right? They were moving the ball. They were having success. That was what they were not having in the Super Bowl. There was no reason to believe that there were signs of life from the offense. It was just, they never found any.
Yeah, you were looking for that little magic thing from Josh McDaniels, but I don't think it was there. I don't think it was to be had in that game, and unfortunately. But like you said, you're 9-0 at half. That's like nothing. in
But
the
it
NFL.
It felt like a lot more than
It
9.
felt like more, but you're thinking to yourself, well, if all of a sudden the offensive line can start playing better, well, it's not that easy.
They just play better run defense. I'd be curious, with the game. I mean, I think Seahawks win that game 9 times out of 10, maybe. But maybe you stop the run a little better. You put a little more pressure on Sam Darnold. Maybe those millimeters you came from turnovers and mistakes, maybe that makes a little bit of a difference. But
yeah,
wasn't meant to be.
I did not care for the mic'd up stuff.
Evan's on a he doesn't like.
What didn't you care for?
A lot of convenient editing, I would say, and some of the.
So to be clear, this is NFL film stuff.
Yeah. I just.
Not us.
Not us.
I just I saw the same clips that you guys all saw. Were there other clips that didn't make the final cut because they were trying to tell a story about how one team blew out the other team in the Super Bowl?
Okay, so
the one that's going around that's really popular right now is about Christian Barmore, and he's as somebody that has been around Christian Barmore a little bit, I kind of speak Christian Barmore. I understand
as well as anyone can speak.
That makes Evan one of one.
You speak Barmore.
He was saying that it's not us, and everybody was like, he's blaming the offense. It's like, no, he's saying this wasn't us. This wasn't
this isn't who we are.
Yeah, this isn't our level of performance. This isn't our standard. We're not stopping the run. That's not what we do. We're not scoring. This is not. I think he was frustrated that they kind of let the game get away from them and weren't able to pull it back in. I don't know. There's just when you're painting a picture of Seattle's this dominant force and this great football team, it's easy to kind of put a lot of cuts in there of Drake May looking sad and somber on the sideline and all that kind of stuff, when the idea is Seattle won this game and Seattle blew out the Patriots and they're this dominant, dark side defense. And not that they don't deserve all the credit. I thought the edit that NFL Films put together made the Patriots look really bad. And not just Drake May.
They did look bad.
So these are two different things to me. And so the Barmore thing is not about an edit. It's about how it's perceived. And I think Evan's explanation is more than plausible.
Yeah.
That he might not be pointing fingers the way some people, and I did see some people, not everybody, but some people said, wow, he seems like he's calling out the offense for not carrying their part of the load. And I think Evan could be right. He might just be saying, this isn't us. This ain't us as a team or as a defense stopping the run. He might have just been talking to Milton Williams. This ain't us, you and me. We're not stopping the run.
Right.
Yeah. We've stopped the run all year, and this guy's running all over us. So I think Evan's point of view on that is more than possible. The edits and the cuts to me are a different thing, and they do this every year, and you can tell sometimes they're very good at what they do with those. But sometimes you can go and you can look, and when you're a psychotic like me and you recognize certain situations of the game, you can tell that they put that edit in the middle of the third quarter. That play happened in the beginning of the first quarter. And you can see it.
They're famous for that.
And they do that all the time. Yeah. Now, I didn't necessarily see most of this. I've seen the clips that have been played. I haven't watched this through. But NFL Films does sort of creatively edit some of these things at times. And
to tell the story.
And they're trying to tell a narrative, and sometimes
I'm not trying to
it's
dump
deceiving.
on NFL Films.
It can be.
That's my point.
Not either.
Yeah. That's my point. Is that I wouldn't watch these clips that are getting put out there on these mic'd ups. Where let's also remember that they're clipping 30 seconds of a 40-minute show, and that's what's going around the internet. I just wouldn't put too much stock into it because they're trying to tell an editorialized story of this Super Bowl. And, is that really, was Drake May always like that? Was he like that for 4 straight quarters? Were there just some moments where he was, a little bit down? Because we certainly saw that even from Brady at times where he was grumpy or he was frustrated or whatever.
Brady would pout.
So all
Absolutely.
of them do it. And I just would say, to me, I just wouldn't put too much stock into conveniently trimmed clips.
I've said
NFL
it a couple
Films.
times. It's 31 teams suck right now, and you lose the Super Bowl, you get the suck spotlight for the whole week, and everything that's wrong with you, and that's what happens and that's why it stinks to lose the Super Bowl, because a lot of times you come away from this week feeling like your whole season just got a big dump taken on it, and that you didn't do anything good all year. And I mean, I got past that quick, but I will say I did watch the NFL Films. They do the one with no sound, there's no mic'd up. It's just great shots to music and telling the story that way. I thought that one was really cool. I mean, it's still a lot of shots of dejected Patriots, but
and I'm not even saying it was bad content.
Right.
I'm just saying to then take something from it, like this is who they are and this is the story.
And I would say the bigger picture thing that Fred and Mike are concerned with May, I think there's some validity to, because I think it was a big point of emphasis from Mike Vrabel way back in April and May.
Yep.
Maybe he should have Robert Spillane talk to him.
Yeah.
Lead them. But I do think that Mike thought that was something that he was on very early. How many times do we see our own mic'd up stuff at OTAs or mini camp or whatever, and Mike is imploring him, talk to them, lead them, get in, be the voice, be the vocal leader. So it's clearly something that Drake is probably not a natural at, and Vrabel recognizes it, and he's trying to draw more out of him. Yeah. I agree with Evan's larger point about the creativity of the edits. I think sometimes can be deceptive. But I think the takeaway that I think Fred started this with is probably some truth to. With Drake, I think he needs to be a little bit more in tune with, I know things aren't going very well for me right now, but I need to lift these guys up and continue to give them the belief that we can turn this around.
And not only that, I want him in McDaniel's ear, not just McDaniel's in his ear. Mm-hmm. I want him going back to the bench and said, "This is what I'm seeing. Let's try this," or "Stop with that call. It's not going to work." I'm telling maybe he's doing that. That one I don't know, but I hope that that's happening. Yeah, that he's as
and
much.
That's part of what Evan's talking about. Like maybe that's happening and you're not seeing it.
Right.
And it looks like he's just this like subservient kind of
right.
Yeah, right.
Mopey.
The whip dog. It's like, come
on,
boy, pick it up. I mean, we did hear comments from the players this year, though, that he's improved on holding guys accountable, telling receivers how I want things done and all that. So he has made strides, but again, he's a 23-year-old kid. He's young.
Yep.
And like I said, he got his face beaten in the last couple months.
We want it all right away because we had it all. So we want it back to where it was, and it's going to take time.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it does, not to always bring it back to Brady, but it's just it makes you appreciate what made him great, and that games could be going like games like that where you're like, shoot, we ain't got it today. And he had the ability and the mental toughness to turn it around, and that's what Drake May has to aspire to.
Like not everybody's wired that way,
right?
And I would say a lot of athletes nowadays are not necessarily wired that way.
Not today.
So,
but are the great ones all wired that way?
We'll get them.
I don't think so.
Tomorrow.
No, I'm not.
Can you name a great one who didn't have that fire, that never gave up, and I'm not saying they were always like in their teammates' face, but they just hated to lose so much, and they figured things out in the biggest moments.
I mean, I think that's different. Right?
I mean, that's what makes them great, right? That's what isn't that what separates?
Like, I wouldn't say that I watch like Patrick Mahomes and think that he has the same leadership style as Tom Brady. I think he has the same competitive drive as Tom Brady, but I don't think that he's like Tom Brady's like going up and down the line, like barking at guy. We got to play tougher. We got to play hard. Like I don't look at.
I don't know. Yeah, no, I've seen Mahomes kind of do that.
I mean, I don't even really need that stuff. I mean, I just need you to play your best when the game's on the line, and no matter how the game.
I think those are two different
started.
things, though, right? Yeah, like being, I don't know. This is not my side of the street.
Yeah.
I like.
This is touchy feely.
It just. I don't know if like everybody's wired that way. I think you're not to cross sports, but like Jason Tatum gets a lot of flack for not being that kind of guy. Mm-hmm. Not being the demonstrative rah leader type of guy. And I think that Drake May is kind of getting talked about similarly to that.
But is
not
Jason Tatum
like that.
A guy that the rest of the team looks to?
Is the best player, but I don't think that necessarily.
That doesn't answer my question. Is he the guy that they look to when things get tough?
I don't know. I don't. Probably not. But I don't know if you need to be. Like I don't know if that necessarily.
I don't know. I think
is a determining factor.
I think that's what separates the great ones.
I think what separates the great ones is that they're great, that they play well. Like it's easy to lead, like to fall behind somebody when they're playing well. Like it's not. Yeah. I don't know. I think that we kind of latch on to that archetype of like leader, and that's how it needs to be done. And I don't know if it's the only path.
Yeah, I don't need that.
Yeah, it's not for now because this is probably a bigger picture thing. But I do wonder if it is kind of what Evan's talking about. Like they're not all wired that way. I think it's like less and less are wired that way now. Like you asked the question, can you think of a great one who wasn't like that? Well, can you think of somebody who's not really wired like to win?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but not everyone's not everyone was
like a really good player that you just don't think he cares about as much as he should about winning.
Well, so you said real good player. Is he a great player?
Yeah, like I mean, obviously, if he's a bad player, he probably doesn't care.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like, could you make an argument like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are as talented as anybody in the league, but they haven't been able to get there? Are they not wired that way?
No, I think they are. I
think Josh Allen is certainly wired.
I was going to say that's what makes him great.
But I think a lot of people think Lamar isn't, and I think a lot of people think Justin Herbert isn't.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I think that's a really good one, Justin Herbert, who I like, but I think is definitely in that camp. And I wonder if what Evan's talking about is more kind of generational, and you're going to get more and more of this. You know, like they don't come out the same way. And this is not, this is not old man yelling at clouds. Like I'm not telling you, oh, in my day, you cared. And no, I totally recognize that people are changing, lifestyles are changing, attitudes, everything. It's that old school coach barking at you all the time doesn't work anymore. There's a different way of doing it. It's not better, it's not worse, it's different. And that's what these kids come up with now.
Yeah.
And I do wonder if maybe part of that is that, well, you know what? We're prepared. I think Drake May wanted to win every bit as badly as Sam Darnold and Kenneth Walker did. I don't think that he went into that game saying, well, it's okay if we lose because we're ahead of schedule. But I do wonder if it hurts today's athlete, not Drake May, today's athlete like it hurt Tom Brady's athlete.
I think we might be splitting hairs a little bit, but I look at the great ones as it's not just demonstrative, it's leading by example. Like whether it's Ted Williams or whatever, when it comes down to it, he's the guy we want up at the plate. He's the guy we want behind center because we trust him. We know he's going to come through because he does it. He's shown it. He leads by example. Like Michael Jordan, I'm not sure that he was always in his teammate's face, but I bet you every teammate wanted the ball in his hands in crunch time. He was he just wouldn't allow the team to lose. And of course, that didn't always come through.
But like the more modern Michael Jordan would be like LeBron or Steph Curry, who are gamers that are really
but I think more LeBron than Steph Curry. I think Steph Curry would cut your heart out to win a game. I'm not sure LeBron would.
But I don't I think again, like I don't think that LeBron or Steph Curry, either one of those guys is very demonstrative.
No, but they do it by their play.
Right, which is what I'm saying. Like if you play well, then obviously
and
people
that's all
are
that matters. That's
you.
all that really matters to me. Like I don't care. I'm like I've never once tried to make the argument that Drake needs to be that guy. I just need to feel confident in you that you're gonna start to play well, even if you had a crappy start to the first, and that's why.
But I'll bet you every one of those people that we're talking about that do it by their play, they show by example. I'll bet you they're the cold-blooded killers. Yeah. Every one of them. Yeah. Every one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't need that cold-blooded killer to go marching up and down and start screaming at people.
No, you don't have to, but they have to be cold-blooded killers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, I guess I don't know. We've only had one playoff run with Drake May, so I don't know.
I said he's still young. We've got a lot to learn and all that.
Maybe he doesn't quite have that Mamba mentality, as people say, that Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan.
He may not be great then.
Like I don't think Kobe's probably as good as LeBron.
Yeah.
But I'll take Kobe 100 times out of 100.
That's fair.
I think you don't have to have both, but I think having the ability is number one, and having that cold-blooded mentality is what makes you great.
Yeah.
It's what separates the great ones.
It just asks so much of a kid who's, in Drake's case, was 22, 21 years old, coming out of North Carolina to come into an NFL team and to lead them and to be that guy. And not everybody's special that way that they're going to come in and they're instantly have that mojo. So, my hope is that I don't need the rah-rah stuff from Drake. I've never asked from that. I just need to see him to continue to play well when things aren't going well, when he's not playing well in the first half. And, just having that feeling like Bills fans have right now where Josh is going to make some plays for us. Like, I don't know if the defense or, we're going to be able to get it done, but you always have confidence when you have one of those quarterbacks that at some point they're going to start to make plays and put some pressure on Seattle. And for a brief glimpse, maybe it lasted about 40 seconds in that Super Bowl after he threw the touchdown and they got the ball back. And, for a moment there, you felt, all right, this is at least a bounce back a little bit from Drake to And again, at that point, he's probably just like, screw it, I'm gonna let it rip, So, but to see him make some of those throws down, that gave me a little bit of confidence.
Jack in Ann Arbor says an example of a great player who didn't have fire in his belly to win is Aaron Rodgers. Agree?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
In his own way.
Like I
he's
said,
a weird
this is
dude.
not really
It's
my
kinda hard
thing.
to read him,
I like Nikola Jokic could not get out of America fast enough when the NBA season is over. I don't think he actually cared about anything, and he's the best player in the league.
Did you happen to see the All-Star stuff with him?
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the press conference? He actually laughed.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, the guy they won the Nuggets won the title a couple years ago, and he said, "Can I go home?"
He was
yeah,
gone.
like that it just I don't know if that. I think that a lot, like Paul was kind of saying, a lot of those types of guys, it doesn't exist like it used to anymore, for better or worse.
Yeah, I do wonder if it's changing because of, I just think that these kids are way different than like Fred and I were. You guys are a different, you not so much, Mike. I know you like to think of yourself as young, but you're not.
I'm not young at all.
See, I don't think that part of it, that cold-blooded, I hate to lose type of mentality has changed. I think there are still the great
I'm
ones.
talking about
I do think these guys hate to lose.
Like Drake May definitely hates to lose.
I think these guys all hate to lose.
There's been a lot
I
of
do.
stories about that, but him hating to lose ping pong, and stuff like that. I just think it's different in ways that they show it.
Yeah.
Like in ways that they carry themselves, their body language, their actions. I don't know if Michael Jordan, you brought him up, he was famously an a-hole. That guy would just go up to you in practice, and the things that they did to Tony Kukoc is ridiculous. They would go up to him in practice and tell him that he and everybody he ever known stinks. He would just absolutely rip that guy's heart out. I don't know if everybody plays sports that way anymore. For better or worse. I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know. I don't know if that's the way it is anymore.
Anthony says, hey, old man yelling at clouds, would you say Marino falls into the doesn't care enough, not a great leader type of ultra-talented player? I only saw the end of his career, so not sure of what he was like as a personality early on.
I see. I don't think so. I think he was a really fiery competitor.
He was always yelling at other people.
He was yelling at his own teammates, according to Tim.
Right. No, absolutely. And that, he wasn't doing that because he didn't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, you can argue that he wasn't, at his best when he needed to be. I mean, there's another guy like Aaron. I think he's the Aaron Rodgers of his time. Too many home playoff losses and big, AFC Championship games in Miami, and coming away with L's. But I would be hard pressed to find a guy that I just openly said that guy doesn't really seem like he cares if he wins
there's just
or not.
a baseline to get to the NFL. You've got to be hyper competitive just to get to the NFL.
Especially to play
they're
that
not
position.
comparing to
Now,
us.
I could look
regular
at certain guys, and these are good examples. The last two we had, Aaron Rodgers and Dan Marino, they're great examples. I don't know the answer to the questions, but sometimes you just look at guys and you're like, does it bother Justin Herbert as much when he loses as it bothers a guy like, say, Baker Mayfield? Now, that might be completely and utterly unfair because one guy wears every emotion that he's ever had on his sleeve, and the other guy is as laid back as they come. Yeah. It doesn't mean that it matters more to Mayfield than it does to Herbert, but that's the impression from afar when you watch.
That's kind of my point.
It's superficial.
You're just kind of trying to read body language and get inside guys' heads, and at the end of the day, got to play well.
Yeah.
And you got to play well in the biggest moments. And he in the Super Bowl, at least he didn't. And so now there's this narrative that he doesn't care enough, or he's not demonstrative enough, or he's not a leader or a clutch, and that comes with it. That comes with the territory.
But you don't want to be sitting on the bench with your head down. Anyway.
Well, and just before we go on, I just want to reiterate that the league is better with Baker Mayfield in it.
Well, there's no doubt. But Ryan says Drake May has every bit of the competitive spirit of Tom Brady. Think back to Brady in the AFC Championship game versus the Steelers in the first Super Bowl run. He tweaked his ankle, but to his own admission in the Dynasty document, was kind of ready to take a seat. Drake is super young, and his leadership style will grow organically as his confidence grows and as he gets older. Yeah. To Evan's point, there is no singular leadership style of the greats. Bill Russell, Joe Montana, and Bird all had more revered personalities relative to a Jordan or a Brady.
Yeah, I would just. I mean,
Bird was tough to play with too.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He even said in the Celtics documentary, he goes, I practice harder than these guys. That's why I wanted the ball.
I wanted to take the shot because I knew I was more prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Bird was tough to play with. Bird was more like Jordan than you think.
Yeah. Now, Bill Russell's a good example.
Yeah.
He was a lead by example guy,
Stone
not in
guy.
your face. Yeah. Montana, maybe I don't know as much about him, but I know that. But in crunch time, he's the guy. I want the ball in his
Cool.
hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's Joe Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
It's John Candy.
Yeah. So it's good. It's good stuff.
I think it's a good discussion.
Yeah.
It's probably bigger than this show, but
Yeah.
Nothing's bigger than this show, Paul. Come on.
I mean,
my bad.
I just don't like how we try to like put athletes in like a box. Like this
You
is
have to lead this way,
You have to
and-
look this way. You
Right.
have to lead this way. You have to act this way. When a lot of great players don't. And no, I don't know if like Drake May is going to rattle off 6 Super Bowls. You know, he might not have that kind of maniacal drive. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't. Most people don't. But like, can he still be great?
The question is, I guess the crux of my question is, do you need the maniacal drive to be among the greatest of the greats?
I would say I think there needs to be something special.
I think there
about
has
your
to be.
competitiveness.
Yeah.
I don't know. Patrick Mahomes comes in out of shape every single offseason. So like if we're gonna like go by like what happens now, I don't know. Like no one's gonna win 7 Super Bowls. All right, like that's that.
No, somebody someday will.
someone's going to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. I mean, like, let's
maybe not in our lifetime.
but let's not.
you
But
know.
like let's not hold it to that standard, right? So like you know, I don't know if you can like Patrick Mahomes has won 3, right? And I don't think that Patrick Mahomes has the same, like, he's not on some TB12 diet where he doesn't eat sugar for.
At this stage of Mahomes' career, neither was Brady. Brady was chugging beers with the linemen at this stage of his
Right.
career.
Nah, they were water a lot of the time. But yeah, I just, that's my point though, is like, I don't know. Like, I think Patrick Mahomes is probably wired in a different way than a lot of people from a competitive spirit standpoint. His drive to win in games and things like that, I'm sure, is off the charts. But
you can't ignore that guy.
But I don't look at him and be like, that guy, all he does 12 months out of the year is train and focus on football.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that that's true, which is fine. Like, I'm not knocking him for it, but I just don't think that that's true.
Okay. I mean, some guys like him have, I would say he has more pure talent than Tom Brady.
That's probably fair.
Which is pretty amazing
Well, and-
because Tom Brady's pretty damn talented.
Yeah. And to Paul's point, is missing the playoffs this year and feeling like they're going to have to reset a little bit, does that maybe inspire him to change his regime a little bit? Does
Yeah,
he,
or
get
later
older?
in
Well,
his
to,
career
to
or
Paul's
whatever,
point,
but-
you know, there was a point in Brady's career
It's
where
probably
he,
about now. For Mahomes
where
is when it
Brady
kinda
realized
changed.
if I'm going to keep this up,
Yeah.
I need to
Right.
do something in order to, you know, extend my career.
Well, felt like his body was starting to break down a little bit. Remember 06, he started wearing that thing, and then, you know, Guerrero came in, and
Yep.
that was what he needed. But I mean, I agree with there's no one way to do it. It's just, I think there's a certain vibe that you get from guys, and at a certain point, guys like Josh Allen, Mahomes, regardless of what we see them do during the offseason, you know that they're going to be a nightmare
I just,
for 60 minutes.
And I don't think it's just sports. I just find like whether it's business or whatever, science, inventors, entrepreneurs, like the top echelon guys and women have that's something that's different. Like they might be crazy.
I had a crazy
they're
friend like that,
nuts
yeah.
or whatever, but
Yeah.
there's something that
Yeah.
puts them above.
I think Drake May is maniacally competitive. I think that comes from his brothers and being the youngest and getting beat down a lot as a kid and things like that by his brothers.
Which brother?
You know, like there's been a
both.
lot of stories on the beat of, you know, cards, ping pong, golf, basketball, like just playing pickup basketball and he's like trying to, you know, tear somebody's head off, right? Like things like that. And I think he has that element. I just don't know if he is like a demonstrative, wear your heart on your sleeve, barking at people. And maybe like that will happen 8 to 10 years from now in the second chapter of his career when he becomes a little bit more, you know, older, more mature, more sure of himself, that sort of thing. I think it's hard to do that as a 23-year-old.
So Elf from Wisconsin once again has completely misunderstood what I'm saying. He says just because someone isn't screaming at their team doesn't mean they don't care. I agree with that. But if you're the leader of the team, if you're the quarterback and your head's down and totally within yourself in the toughest of times, that's not helping the team.
Yeah.
And can we also just add, I don't think anybody suggested that he didn't care.
Right. I'm not saying I didn't care. So once again, Al got it all wrong. But he does that. He does that a lot.
But that's a little aggressive.
I think
I know, but he does that a lot.
He's a big time listener.
No, I don't. Of course he cares.
We don't know.
Of course he cares. But you're my quarterback.
Yeah.
I need you to be the guy that others are looking to. And if you're looking down,
I think it was like
what's going on?
05, 06. Brady was the body language was a huge thing with Brady.
Yeah.
I think it was 06.
Yeah.
Like, where it was that was like a notable talking point of that his body language. I mean, 06.
Well,
that's right.
He spent half the season pouting.
Right.
Because they got rid of all
that
his
was
receivers.
The beginning. Right.
Did the same thing in 19.
Yeah.
Yep. And what happened?
Yeah, I mean, they made the playoffs and they're the worst 12-4 team of all time.
Yeah.
But I think that the good thing about the Vrabel-Drake May tandem is that Vrabel is this alpha kind of personality and leader that we're talking about. And maybe he can either get it out of Drake May if that's really what you need, or maybe he can kind of supplement, like Brady supplemented Belichick, who wasn't necessarily, the leader of men that, Mike Vrabel is, but was a genius when it came to the football aspects of it. So I think that they hopefully will kind of combine forces here and, be able to get that out of everybody. But the guy that everybody looks to when things are not going well might be the head coach. That might just be the type of team that they are and the way they're wired.
Joe says all year long, May would pick up his team when they started slow. So please don't judge his whole year by one game.
Yeah.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Now, I just say, I don't know. I was wondering how you guys felt after other Super Bowl losses, but this loss left me much more excited and ready to get right back into it than other losses. Now, all those other losses were, mid-Brady, mid-dynasty, where you knew that each team was pretty special and that, but it still just feels like you're just getting started. And that's why, you took some, lumps last week with people talking about the team, but how can you not be excited about this team and the direction that they're going? And I know that they have holes and things to figure out, but the job that they did last year just gives me a lot of confidence. And to see Drake and how he progresses with all these things, he's got all the tools in the world. Vrabel's saying all the right things to him. And I hope this isn't coming off as us nitpicking Drake. There's things that he needs, but he's still a young kid. I still don't think there's really many other quarterbacks I'd rather have in the league than him. And overall coming out of this season, I'm enthusiastic about the whole operation.
That's our quarterback.
The other one, though, too, I always think about the one people use is that they don't believe in us. I've known people who, that's their thing. No matter how much success they have, it's always about how no one believes in them. They're never, I'm like, dude, you've directed movies and you're still selling me this thing about nobody believes in you. But that's just, I think certain people have certain devices that they use, like Rodney Harrison, that, nobody believes, and that's how they get themselves to that place.
Yep. All right, 855-PATS-500 is the hotline. Podcast@patriots.com is the email address. We've already read a few of those emails. Let's get to the phones. We'll start with Danny in Tampa. What's up, Danny?
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Okay.
Hey, Danny.
Hey, first take I want to give, I want to pick a bone with Paul. Paul,
Good luck.
I wanted to give him a free butt. I did not say last week. I think somebody was talking about the offensive line was saying that we wanted to either remake the whole line, and then also to the other point, I did not say that it was my money. It was Robert Kraft's money. I don't have a problem paying Christian Gonzalez. I'm just saying that they probably should do a Kyler Murray type of deal where they kind of word some things in the contract where he needs to kind of live up to certain expectations if he wants the bag. The other thing is...
Well, then you're not going to sign him.
Mike? Well, yeah,
you're either going to give him money guaranteed or not. I mean, that's up to you. But I don't remember I don't remember who, but someone last Tuesday said they wanted to change the whole offensive line. If that wasn't you, I don't think I assigned that to you. But someone called in and said they wanted to change all 5 guys in the offensive line.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous. And I also have a caller on crime. To the guy that called in that was picking on Eldridge and Christian in L.A., I think he needs to call in, don't sit behind the keyboard and be a keyboard warrior.
There you go.
Hell yeah.
There you go,
Agreed
Danny.
on that one.
Bring it, Danny.
Freedom.
There you go.
Too many
Okay.
keyboard warriors out
All
there
right.
these days.
PU Fight Club will bring
Thanks,
everybody
Danny.
in. We'll just do like a
Now, I don't
octagon.
mind people writing it, but give your real name and where you're from.
Oh.
Sure.
Yeah.
I wanted an address.
Yeah. No anonymous
I gotta
names.
go.
If you're going to criticize others,
And if I
hear what Danny's saying.
If I assign that to Danny, then I'm wrong. I don't remember assigning it to anybody in particular, but somebody last Tuesday wanted to change the entirety of the offensive line. I was like, they just did that.
No, me and Evan were talking about, like, here's my simple 72-point plan to fix the Patriots this offseason, where you're like cutting, restructuring, signing, cutting, re-signing, like.
And I don't really know why Gonzo would be in a Kyler Murray category where, like, is this like
prove it?
Well,
like,
what is he proving? Like, does he not watch film? Like, the Kyler Murray thing was like he had to put the video games away.
Right.
I don't, you don't want to sign him if that's what you want. If you want provisions like that.
I have never heard anything even remotely like that about Christian Gonzalez. So, I've actually Justin Hamilton, their cornerbacks coach, said he's one of the smartest players he's ever had.
Yeah.
You know, a guy that just has ridiculous memory of, like, they put something on the board and he's going to remember it, and you know, and it's just stuck in his brain. I don't think that he's anything. Work ethic is any sort of question.
Nate's in Connecticut. We can hear you.
Okay, all right, good.
Good.
So Tyreek Hill getting released is obviously pretty big in the NFL, and with the situation that Stephon Diggs is currently in, with all the legal issue, and then also us having the ability to opt out of the contract, do you guys think that it's like a possible decision that he'll come to the team?
No.
I'm good.
The one thing that I keep
I don't think
like
I don't think they're going to get into the Tyreek Hill.
No.
I don't want any part of that.
No.
I don't know why we keep on glossing over the fact that the last time we saw him, he has suffered a gruesome knee injury that, like, no one has. Like, should we try sign Tyreek? Right. Is Tyreek Hill going to even play in 2026? Because that was a brutal injury. And
even if he plays, you're talking about similar off-field. I mean, worse.
Yeah.
But similar kinds of, in terms of severity, much more frequent with Tyreek Hill than with Stephon Diggs. Evan talked about the injury situation, so he's also getting a little bit older. Yeah, I mean, I would just keep Diggs if you're going to do.
I think
do that whole thing.
I mean, he's 4 months removed from that injury. I think I saw has at least another 6 to go until he's healthy. So, like, you're talking about adding him mid-season anyways to whichever team signs him on top of all the stuff that Paul's talking about.
What about Bradley Chubb? Because they got rid of him too.
What are injuries? I mean,
thanks, Nate.
He did not look like the same player to me. He had that big injury in 2023, missed the entire 2024 season. And last year, I didn't think he looked quite the same. Now, if that's like a consolation because you kind of strike out on your first couple of choices.
I'd like someone better than that, but I wouldn't mind him as a depth guy.
Yeah.
If he's like your situational guy, or if like that's like plan C, D, E, F, like, you know, like
I've always liked Bradley Chubb. I agree with everything Evan just said about him, but I you look at what they had this year. I wouldn't mind him like in that chase on role.
Sure.
But you need someone over that. Like, we all thought Chason was going to be a situational pass rusher who turned out to be pretty much an every down player.
Yep.
I don't want Bradley Chubb playing every down.
No, they got to figure out that position. I mean, I'd love to add a free agent. I'd like to draft a rookie in the first 2 days. You know, redo that whole thing. Get some young legs, some reliability. Might have to take a half step back. I'm curious with Chason. I mean, I think he's going to have interest, and I think he might take the most money.
Edges from everywhere. Like, there's free agent edges. There's
but maybe
like
with
Max
the class,
Crosby, who's a trade candidate.
Yeah,
there's
give me him, please.
Probably about 15 guys in the draft that are going to go in the top 100. I mean, it is the edge market is very robust, but the question is, like, does that end up hurting some guys?
That's what I was just going to ask. Like somebody's going to say, why am I going to
pay Chase
on right now when I got, a couple
when
guys
you have a draft
in.
class like this, it kind of hurts the free agents because what would you rather have?
And it's a good free agency class too. I mean, there's guys like Chase on that are kind of
another one.
Mafe. There's a lot of guys that are going to kind of be part of this market.
Well, after the break, maybe Paul, we could go down
position list.
Yeah, so it might be the off season for football, but tax season is definitely here.
Oh, crap.
And your tax refund goes further at Bob's Discount Furniture. Shop Bob's and score more high-quality, affordable finds like game day-ready power reclining sofas with more places to charge your phone, storage-filled dining sets with more seating styles to fit the whole team, and comfy Bob-O-Pedic mattresses with more years on their warranties so you can rest up until next season. So stop in or shop online and get more for less with Bob's Discount Furniture, the official furniture store of the New England Patriots. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. More calls and emails. Paul's got some free agent info that he's going to share with us, and we'll do that right after this.
Whether you're in the game or betting on the game, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here, 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
The heaviest metal credit card of all time. Wielded at business dinners like a samurai sword. It's a classic corporate power move. But the real power move? Having end-to-end visibility on your most critical shipments. FedEx, the new power move.
If you're gonna play the game, boy, you gotta learn to play it right.
DraftKings is all about responsible gaming. It's more fun when it's for fun. So play responsibly. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction.
It's time now for another episode of Pats from the Past podcast, where we travel down memory lane with the former Patriot great. And who better to join us today than number 32, CJ Craig James, one of the OG member of the Pony Express, right? Along with Eric Dickerson.
Absolutely.
Which we're going to talk about, because how can you talk to Craig James without talking about that before his Patriots career?
Anything that gets me back to high school, Matt.
That's great.
We're going to talk
Craig,
about it.
thanks for joining us, man. This is going to be fun.
Privilege. You know, I walk in this stadium and I'm cracking up because I'm back in the 80s, right? And when I walked up to Sullivan Stadium, you know, we didn't have no film room like this.
Right.
Wasn't even a thought back then.
Right. But Craig, you said you were here last June. Explain that. Why were you here for Tom Brady Day?
Well, I got to get the invitation to come in for the Brady celebration, which was just remarkable. But I wanted to see Dante Scarnecchia because Scar and we were back together at SMU. He was here when I was playing for the Patriots. He was, you know, like a legend. He's been here since before Billy Sullivan bought the team, right? Scar's just one of those legendary guys, and I got a chance to speak with him and see him. But what a great night that was. I was so proud to be an alum. What a privilege to be a part of the Patriots organization. I sent a handwritten note to Mr. Kraft and just said, man, what an awesome night and a display of the fans. The fans here in New England showed off last year.
Absolutely.
In June.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're really happy with the way that whole night, because a lot of people in the organization had a lot to do with that. So we felt like that was a really strong night for the entire organization, and I'm glad that so many, alums came back for that. There was a lot of people from a lot of different eras that took part in that, and I think it was a huge success.
Well, it's like I had a chance to see Tony Collins and Doug Flutie and a bunch of my teammates that I had not seen in years. You have to walk up nowadays, 40 years later, and say, "Hey, Craig James, good to see you. Who are you?"
Yeah, but I tell you what, Craig, I'm not like. You don't look a little bit different. You look like Craig James. Maybe your hair's a little lighter, but that's about it. I was joking with you before we started that Eric could give you 10 or 15 snaps. I wonder if there's a halfback option play that maybe one that you could do if pitch it out there. I think you could probably still get a first down off of that, couldn't you?
Thank you very much. I'd be really good with pregame warm-up and pat and go. If somebody hit me, I would cry.
That's funny. Like I said, to kick things off, I think people here in New England are somewhat versed on the legend of how it began. But the idea that two kids who went to high school in Texas, two of the best at their position, could be recruited and play for the same college and be so prolific. I mean, that story never gets old, does it? The Pony Express at SMU with you and Eric Dickerson?
We've been nearly 50 years friends. We love each other. We're like brothers. And the fact that now we can look back on it and realize what we did was really unique. And someone asked me, the media made a big deal about it. I had won the Vince Lombardi NFL Offensive Player of the year after Eric had been the NFL MVP. And they said, how did two guys go to the same team in Dallas at SMU? How did that happen? I said, it was Dallas. It was Ron Meyer, our head coach at the time. A lot of energy, but it just, as Eric and I say, the Pony Express, we were better together.
So did you ever have any trepidation? Being a running back, there's only one guy that's going to get the carry. I'm sure that both you and Eric felt like you were the man coming out of high school. Was there any concerns that you were going to be able to share the backfield together and be as successful as you were?
He had rushed for over 2,000 yards as a senior. We were in different classifications in Texas. Both of our teams had won state championships, so we both thought we were pretty good. We were both All-Americans. When we get to SMU, Ron Meyer made it work. He convinced us that you guys are going to be fresher for your 20 carries each per game. I think he averaged 20, averaged 19. And so now that we look back on it, it really helped. Eric says it tremendously, that it helped him prolong his career. He wasn't beat up when he got there, so he was able to play longer. And so, yeah, we could have been selfish, but we also recognized that in the third and fourth quarter, defenses were worn out. And Eric and I would say to each other on the sideline, hey, they're dragging. They're tired. We got them. And you just couldn't keep up with both of us.
It's kind of rare, though, isn't it? I mean, to your point, there's not too many people who are the guy who are going, and I'm still going to be the guy, aren't I, that can subjugate their ego and say, I think it might be better for the team, for our careers and everything physically like that, to split this.
We were friends. Had we not been friends, it would have never worked.
There you go.
It's truly. I mean, we've never had one cross word with each other. No bad thought, even to this day. And so, other than when he beats me really bad in golf. He's a great golfer.
So the thing that I like about this is it sort of starts in the reason why the Pony Express is obviously a really interesting story for a lot of reasons and a lot of people. But for the Patriots specifically, Ron Meyer is there, and he ends up coming to New England. And we talked about Dante a little bit. It's kind of like that first chapter of the story for the Patriots. Ron Meyer, what did he mean to you, at SMU, and then when he ends up coming here and you eventually come as well?
Ron Meyer was not an X and O guy. I mean, he knew football, but he was a talent guy, and he knew great assistant coaches, and he had a staff that was phenomenal. Steve Sidwell, Dante Scarnecchia. There was all of them were world-class coaches, assistant coaches, and he made them make sure we knew what we were doing as athletes, and he knew an athlete, and so he knew what you could or could not do, and he'd put you in position to have success. And so Ron really had unfortunately, him getting fired, led to Raymond Berry, which was a blessing for the organization. But Ron got it started, with the assistant coaches that he brought in here, like Dante Scarnecchia,
who's in the Team Hall of Fame, who's had an unbelievable career, Craig. Did you see some of that? Did you, as a kid who's playing at college, did you see this world-class coaching staff? And then specifically, what did Scar help mean to you for the 2 years that you and Dante were together at SMU?
I don't think as a young athlete that you appreciate what the coach is doing until it's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
And then especially when you get down the road and you can look back and reflect and say, well, why weren't we doing this? Nothing against the system when I came in here as a rookie, but we had a really hard time, very complicated pass protection scheme. I've got Sam, or I've got strong safety, or I've got that. But if, then I've got that. When you get a football player thinking, you got problems, you got sacks. And so Scar cleaned that up. He just said, look, let's simplify this thing. Let's make sure we know who we're gonna block. If you can't do that, then you can't be successful. So as I look back on it now, the assistant coaches that Ron Meyer had and that Raymond Berry had, that Belichick had, every one of them had a job and a role and a responsibility. They were really good at it. You got to have Jimmys, you got to have the Joes, but you got to have the coaches.
So when you came out of SMU and decided to get into the draft, it was USFL first. I think it was the Washington Federals.
Yep.
What was behind that decision to go that route?
I had been told by my agent that this USFL was going to have a draft a few days after we played in the Cotton Bowl. I'd gone home to Houston. I get a phone call from my agent. He says, hey, they select you the 4th player taken in the USFL draft. Wow. Okay. He said, we have to go to Washington out of respect. Let's go up out of respect. Within moments of being around this ownership group in Washington, I realized they were very serious about what they were doing. And it was significantly more money than I would have been slotted. I knew I was going to be a first rounder in the NFL, or was projected to be. But I was like, I like the idea of pioneering. You know, it was a great spirit. And there was a ton of great football players, obviously, who went to the USFL.
Yeah.
I'm glad that happened because it led me to playing for New England. Had I not played there, where Ron, then they started taking USFL players in the 7th round so that they would have the rights for us if that league went boobs. Yeah. And thank God that I was able to get away from there and to play for the New England Patriots. So it was a blessing.
And now, great moments in history.
Good lobster bisque is like sex for your throat. I do remember saying that.
I don't, but that's even funnier than
good lobster
you loving
bisque
pie.
is like sex for your throat.
Plus it was Dan.
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt Dan.
If you're looking for a good lobster bisque on the Cape, the Daniel Webster Inn sandwich has an excellent lobster bisque.
You have the place down the Cape.
Oh yeah.
For everything.
Well, if you haven't noticed, they eat out a lot because I don't cook, and my wife doesn't really particularly enjoy it either. So we eat out a lot. But
yeah, my wife and I eat out a lot too.
Yeah. I enjoy the whole thing about eating out. I do. You know, I like the sitting down, getting a drink, placing the order. I just
you know what
enjoy
I really like when on like a Saturday night, especially in the summer, if it's nice out, you get to a place on the water and your table's not ready, and you go to the bar and have maybe a couple of drinks while you're waiting for your table.
Yeah.
And that to me is like.
See,
There's a couple hours.
I don't
that's perfect
like that.
for me.
I
That's
don't
perfect
like that.
for me.
I don't like having to be in a place where I know I'm going to have to move as soon as they call my name. I like to just be where I'm going to be and settle in.
You fat bastard.
No, it's not about laziness.
I don't want to move.
That's another great moment from
I'm very
All right, back here on Patriots Unfiltered, 855-PATS-500 is the hotline. Podcast@patriots.com is the email address. Talking about a bunch of stuff, leadership and free agents. And as I said before the break, Paul has an extensive list.
Oh, there are a lot of edge
of all the
rushers.
free agents. We started talking about edge rushers. Now, you have them in alphabetical order, not by ability.
Well,
So that's what we don't care about whose name
correct.
begins with
We
A.
we can
We
rank
want to
them by
know who
No, but
can play.
I have them ranked by position too. But there's a lot of veterans on. The big names are veterans, so those aren't
Do veterans on your own time.
Like the Joey Bosa's and the Kyle Van Noy's of the world. No one's really interested in those guys. AJ Epinesa, kind of been a disappointment in Buffalo. Joe Tryon, Trey Hendrickson, big name on the list, obviously. Evan talked about a few other guys that could be of interest. One of them was Kingsley Enigbare, if I'm pronouncing
Green
that.
Bay.
I think it's Enigbare, right?
Yep. Arnold Egbike.
I don't think he's here.
Yeah, he's there.
Arnold?
He was a Penn State guy.
I remember the name.
Yeah, he's a good player. I'd be interested in him. He's kind of like their type, hard charging edge rusher, gets up the field, has good speed off the ball, he's more of a situational pass rusher for a lot of teams, but not a type of guy that you're going to get to set the edge and stop the run. You want him to get up the field.
There's a few other names here that I, kind of been disappointments, but high draft pick like Kwity Paye. I'm thinking of guys that are kind of still young, and they're available probably because they haven't necessarily been home runs for their team. Odafe Owe, who got traded from Baltimore to the Chargers last year. Those guys are somewhat intriguing to me. Like I said, there's a ton of veterans on this list too that I wouldn't be necessarily interested. Jalen Phillips in Philadelphia went from Miami to Philly.
Yep.
Another guy, 5th year, 5 years in, and Evans guy, Boye Mafe,
Yep.
another young guy.
Yep.
So there's a lot of names.
Like Boye
Lot of
Mafe to
names.
me, Bikide, I'm gonna butcher his name all offseason. Those guys are like coming off their rookie contracts.
A Dallas Thomas.
Yeah. So they're like 26-ish, like they're right off their
my
very
sweet
first
spot.
contract.
Yeah, I like those.
So we're not talking about signing like a Joey Bosa, for example, who's in his 30s already. We're talking about guys that are hopefully kind of like Chason, a guy that might be ascending and might have his best football still to go.
A guy that's not on the list because he's not a free agent, but he's been in trade talks is, of course, Max Crosby.
Yeah.
And, Albert Breer reported, and he's not the only one. I guess he sat down with Raiders and they had a good talk. But Albert Breer says he thinks he's more liable to leave than ever.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think he's more liable to stay than ever with the Raiders.
How many more times is he going to go through a Raiders rebuild? Like, this has got to be his third or fourth
At least.
coach.
Yeah.
I mean, McDaniels, Pete Carroll, Clint Kubiak. There's got to be at least one more before that, right?
Yeah. Antonio Pierce.
Yeah, Antonio Pierce. And there's another one before that.
Yeah, the fill-in guy.
The guy
Rick
that
Bisaccia?
Antonio Pierce replaced, though.
Was that it?
Who was that?
Rick
I think he was just an interim.
Yeah,
guy,
I'm
wasn't he?
talking about like a.
But yes,
they went to
there's
the
another
playoffs
one.
with Derek Carr earlier on in Derek Carr's
Yeah.
career.
Yep.
Like, I mean, like how many more regime
That's
changes?
the only playoff
and
game that
coaches?
Crosby's ever played in.
Yeah, like I just think at some point,
Now's the time to sell him too. You still get high pick for him. I feel like, and a couple
Yeah.
years from now, he's going to start being on the backside. So.
Right.
Max and Mike in Groveland said, would you guys prefer Trey Hendrickson over trading assets for Max Crosby?
No, I would trade assets. for Max
Hendrickson's what,
Crosby.
30 now?
He's older than
Yeah.
Crosby.
31, I think.
No, it was John Gruden. John Gruden, Jack Del Rio. I think he
Oh,
might have
right,
played for
Gruden
Jack
came
Del
back.
Rio for like a year.
Yeesh.
Like it's like 5 coaches easily for Max Crosby.
Yeah, change of scenery. It's time. Sick of Vegas. Okay? I don't know. I'd take him though. I think it's the kind of move you got to make.
Oh,
You got to make at least
I mean,
one or two of those moves. this
Everyone's,
offseason.
points to when Vrabel coached him in the Pro Bowl. They got to know each other, and Max Crosby was saying, he was a real good dude. And
I mean, the fit is obvious across the board of, on the field, off the field, and
Yeah.
that's what you got to do this offseason. You got to make this team better on paper. I know that doesn't always count for what you think it's going to count for, but I think you have to come out of this free agency period feeling like they got a couple dudes on the team.
I think you just have to figure out like because that's going to be your big swing. Like
Yeah.
if you go out and trade a first round pick
Yep.
for Max Crosby, that's your splash. That's
Yeah.
your move. And making that on defense when the offense just couldn't move the ball the entire playoff run, really. Like, is that really where the biggest
What do you
holes
think his
are?
market will be? Because right now we have the 31st pick in the first round.
Right.
Are there other teams with higher first round picks who, A, would be willing to give up that pick, and B, looking for somebody like Max Crosby?
Sure.
Like, who's our competition?
Buffalo.
So, according to Breer, he indicated that virtually the entire league is
Oh, really?
has looked into
I
it.
mean, I'm sure.
Well,
so,
yeah, looked into it. What does that mean?
Player
Yeah.
of that caliber, everybody's going to be interested.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'd want him for Buffalo the same reason I want him for here, but I think both their edges are up. Well, Bosa's up, and the other guy you mentioned that they drafted, their other edge. I mean, they need edge
Epinesa.
too. Epinesa. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just, like I said, like, if you're really thinking about it, what were the reasons why they didn't finish the job and win the Super Bowl? It wasn't pass rush. It was
Offense.
Yeah.
And so if that is not only the big swing you're doing by trading 31, but you're also paying him top dollar at the top of the market, does that help Drake May put up points?
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I think last week I had mentioned that he had, I think a $30 million. I think he's on the books for $30 million, in base salary. And I thought he had one more year of guaranteed, but I think I'm wrong on that. I think I had the year mixed up. I saw something over the weekend on ESPN that the guaranteed money is through, so it is the chance that you could make that trade and maybe
Extend 'em,
rework
yeah.
something to lower the cap number, but it's gonna. I don't think you're gonna lower the amount that you're paying him.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about the cap number.
Well, Evan, I think you bring up a good point, and it's what I've been thinking about a lot is what is the most direct route and easiest route to upgrade for Drake? Do you say if we just protect this kid, we're going to be okay. Maybe we don't have to at this point make the huge swing on a 30-something-year-old receiver to give him that number one. Do you focus on the offensive line, or I've been saying look at tight end too. Is there a developmental way to find a player who can become a significant weapon for Drake May in that second tight end spot?
I think when you look at tight end, wide receivers, and offensive line, you have to say we could use upgrades everywhere.
Yeah.
How can you not?
And I don't want a 30-something guy, but I want an upgraded receiver.
Yeah, it's just who? It's just so hard. It's like it's great to say it would be great to get Jamar Chase, but there's 5 guys.
But I think you can upgrade with different guys that don't necessarily have to be at that caliber, and I think you need to keep drafting.
Yeah,
I think you need to keep taking your swings and see if you can find somebody like everybody else seems to find that really hits in those day 2 picks.
So in McDaniel's scheme, is it worth sacrificing maybe a little bit of top-end talent with high-end smarts, football IQ, in the wide receiver position?
I don't know.
I mean,
I need Mike's dudes.
We need players. Yeah, you need guys with talent.
I think a bigger question is what kind of receiver are you looking for? Are you looking to replace Stephon Diggs?
Good ones.
Right.
And you're looking for,
saying.
are you looking for a guy that can play a little bit, probably more on the inside and run routes inside the middle of the field? Or are you looking for a guy that's going to take the top off? Are you looking for, Denzel Boston in the draft, just a big body, X receiver that's going to catch everything thrown his way? Like, what exactly are you looking for in terms of type? Is that McDaniels' call? Is that Drake May's skill set and trying to fit it to Drake May's skill set?
Can we start with someone who gets open consistently and catches the ball and then figure it out later?
Well, but I think
do we have to fit in a guy into a certain?
Well, the only way that works though, if you start to get into that, you're talking about proven commodities, like trading for AJ Brown, which no one's going to sit here and say no to, and no one's going to be confused as to where he's going to play and all that. Like, you get AJ Brown, you figure it out. But when you start to talk about the draft and you start talking about drafting a guy 31, like, the type of receiver and the system fit and all that kind of stuff matters. Because the talent isn't going to be off the charts. It's not Jamar Chase that, in the top 5 of the draft. So you have to start to think about, how does this player fit into the puzzle? I think there's 2 different guys right at the back end of the first round that are vastly different types of skill sets in Boston and Casey Concepcion from A&M. Like, those are 2 very different types of players. So are you looking for the separator, the explosive receiver, because that's more Casey Concepcion? Are you looking for a bigger, better kind of version of Mac Hollins, and that's more Denzel Boston? And you kind of have to figure out which one is the type that you want to fit it to.
Yeah.
Eldred is in North Carolina. What's up, Eldred?
Speaking of big explosive receivers,
figured we'd get him in now.
Yeah. Hey, fellas. Hey, Fred. Last week I didn't hear what you was talking about, but I did. Went back and played the thing. Thanks, Danny, for the shout out. Nick and Pocono. You about as dumb as a box of rocks and ain't got no common sense. God give a great.
Okay.
Whoa. All right.
Woo. I love it.
When it comes to wide receivers, bring your ass on.
Whoa.
Okay? The wide receivers I talk about, they just don't run straight lines. They run all the routes. And I've been saying that since 2019. Really for 15 years when we had Brady. You need somebody outside, like what they were saying, explosive, catch, and separate. That's all the one you can do that. But like I said, if you used to just sitting back, listening to everybody, instead of doing your own homework, keep your ass on the sideline.
There you go.
Because I do watch college football, and I do get the scout report. And if you're smart enough, Google it, 26th draft class. It'll tell you about all the wide receivers, their weakness and their strength. And that's all I got to say.
All right. Love it, Eldred.
Yeah.
That's about as fired up as I've seen Eldred.
But Eldred loves his wide receivers.
Oh, yeah.
Don't come to him with wide receiver talk if you're not prepared.
The kid from Tennessee is talented. They run a really bizarre college-style offense where all the receivers are outside receivers have these max splits where they're way outside the numbers, almost on the sideline. They all run 3 routes. So it's really hard to
Jalen Hyatt.
Yeah,
right?
to now this kid I think is maybe a little bit better than that. They also run routes purposely where they're not running full speed and they're coached to do that. So you watch the tape and you're like, why is this guy dogging this route? And it's actually what he's being told to do. It's just a bizarre offense and it's kind of hard to translate.
If I was an offensive coordinator, I would never have my receiver line up next to the sideline.
Oh yeah, they are literally hugging the
I would never
sideline.
do that. You've now told me you can only go one way.
Yeah.
You know, like, why would you do that?
Because they just spread the field.
I know,
That's the style of offense that they run. But it's very effective at the college game. But the translation from the college to the pros is next to nothing. Like, you're really looking at traits of, like, is he big? Is he fast? Can he catch the ball?
I think that's one of the toughest jobs for these scouts is figuring out the projection of the wide receivers to the pro game.
Oh, yeah. They screw it up all the time.
It's so hard.
The professionals screw it up as much as we do. That's what's fascinating. But, you said something about, like, puzzle pieces. And to me, it's like, and we touched on this last week, but it's like, how do you pull up some of these puzzle pieces that you already have down on the board? Because basically the second tight end position is open. Otherwise, I mean, everybody else is under contract. You can bring back the same offense, essentially, if you want to. How do you not do that? How do you like Kayshon Boutte, you like Pop Douglas, do you love them? It's some hard decisions.
Can you do better?
And is it we're just going to bring some guys in and we're going to compete, or if you do pulsing where it's purposeful and you get a number one and it's clear that this guy is going to play, does that open up to a trade? Or it's hard to navigate how they're going to do this.
I've been starting to like kind of talk myself into the idea of like a guy like Alec Pierce. And to Evan's point, and I'm not saying that Alec Pierce is would be a number one on every team in the league. He probably isn't.
Good fit.
But I think his skill set matches Drake May's. But this is a guy that would play on the outside here.
Yeah.
So maybe then if you lost Diggs and you had, Pierce isn't replacing Diggs.
Right.
So maybe you had to take Mac Hollins and use him as sort of your slot guy.
Yeah.
More full time, who is probably better in the run game and can do some different things. And Josh talks about that stuff all the time with how Mac Hollins fills a lot of roles as a chess piece. So I've been kind of talking myself, but that's not going to be easy to do. He's going to be a sought after guy, and he's going to require a good
salary.
Salary.
I don't even know if he's going to hit the open market.
He might not. Yeah, he might not.
I would be shocked if the Colts don't do something.
They went to great lengths. Was it last year or 2 years ago with Michael Pittman? And they made sure that they held on to him, so they could do the same thing with Pierce.
Yeah,
I just don't want to hear anymore. Oh, he ran the wrong route. Oh, he didn't come back for the ball. Oh, he cut this route short. I don't want to hear that anymore.
Well, that happens with every team.
I know, but I want to limit that.
Yeah, but Chisholm. I mean, it's just like, why does Drake May miss a throw? Like every team.
I'd rather have that than the receiver runs the wrong route.
I know, but I'm just saying, like every team, like the receivers aren't going to run perfect routes every single time. So there's always going to be nitpicks about routes and did he stem it right? Did he break at the right angle? Did he, run it at the right depth? Like these are all the details that get really lost.
And like along those lines, like to further complicate your point, Paul, is do you save some space for a guy like Kyle Williams to improve and maybe have a chance to play that role? Or, do you get Alec Pierce and then all of a sudden it's like, we don't really need Kyle Williams on the outside. You know what I mean?
So
it's just an interesting juggling kind of thing you got to do.
When people always say, I don't know why you guys talk about this stuff. You don't have all the information. Yeah, no, we don't. That's information that the coaching staff has right now. Mm-hmm. They have a better idea of what Kyle Williams is and what he might be in 26 than we do, for sure.
Yep.
But, if they project him and they say, this guy was coming on. It took him a little while to understand everything. Once he did, he was a better player. He didn't have a lot of opportunities, but we think he's going to be this in 26. By all means.
Yeah, but again,
if they have that kind of belief,
another
in him,
ballsy kind of leap of faith that you got to make on an unproven player.
But you got to be right
or,
if you do that.
You got to be
it's
right.
a Vrabel sense. Maybe you got to move on from some of these guys that did play well for you last year because you need to take a half step forward to take 2 steps.
I would be very surprised if they came with anything close to status quo on offense.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, the receivers, the two easiest ones are the guys from the 23 draft who are going to be up at the end of next year. They're on the last year of their rookie contract. So Pop and Kayshon Boutte.
At least one of those guys isn't going to be here, if you ask me.
Maybe they're a trade candidate. I think that a big thing to me is they have to figure out how they also what kind of offensive identity do they want to be? Do they want to be, we're going to put Drake May in the shotgun and we're spreading the field and we're going to be the Cincinnati Bengals and it's going to be great receivers on the outside with a great quarterback? Do they want to be able to run the ball a little bit more effectively than they did last year? And that's going to mean probably getting a tight end that can block a little bit better in line, receivers that are a little bit bigger and more physical, kind of like the Rams 49ers types of receivers. Those are all questions that they have to answer, that only they can answer, about what kind of offense do they want to be. I think that matters a lot too in terms of when you start to talk about the type of receivers you're going to target.
I mean, did you guys get that sense with Brady as you were going along of like as 03, 04 that he was having more input into what they were doing, both
Well, I think those
roster
were,
and playbook?
those were the times where he was meeting weekly with Bill.
I mean, certainly not 06, right?
So I would say yes and no.
Yeah.
I think he did have a say, and I think a lot of times they said, yeah, that's great,
Okay,
Tom.
great. Bye.
But you can do more with less, and you'll like it. Until
Yeah, right.
it finally bottomed out, and it cost them a title, and then they went out and got everybody.
Yeah, right.
In 07. You know, I mean, it was they got a slot guy, they got a dynamic outside guy, they got a backup dynamic outside guy, they got a tight end. Like the 07 free
I know.
agency class was like
Yeah.
unreal.
No, I was
And then they
excited about
started
Dante
playing,
Stallworth.
3 receivers a
Well,
lot.
Moss
and
was a trade, right? Yeah.
spread in the field and all that stuff. Like, I know a lot of people want them to go heavier and put multiple tight ends on the field and receivers that can block and try to be more like the Shanahan tree offenses where you're scripting run off a pass and marrying those things together. But, that right now I feel like they kind of, I don't know what exactly that answer is to be, effective as both a run offense and a pass offense, because they got very 11 like 3 receiver heavy, pass heavy, towards the end of the season, especially where a lot of it was kind of on Drake May to kind of make things happen. And I think they would probably want to be a little bit more under center, play action, that sort of thing than they were towards the end.
On to the phones. Todd's in North Carolina. What's up, Todd?
Hey guys, let me start by apologizing to Fred because I sent in an email. I was pretty hot after the Super Bowl, and I was kind of grouchy. I'm still a little upset. I thought maybe I was unjustified, which is why I took some time off and didn't call in you guys. But I've been listening to people. They didn't put Will and Drake in positions to succeed, and considering they're both injured, they didn't do anything for them. And it was upsetting me. It was like, why are you putting these guys in there who definitely are our future, one way or the other, and leaving them just hanging? And that's really what happened. And it was very frustrating to just see the struggles of those guys, because that's our future. And now on to the next point of the future. I was listening to a lot of people, and Chris Canty said, the one thing the Pats have to do is be careful. Don't become Chicago. Don't think you just need 1 or 2 players and you're there. Keep doing the drafting young. Find, a way to keep your team growing, kind of like the Rams do, and some of these other teams. Don't try to fill everything in free agency and get these guys. Build young and up, because that way you have a core and your team can flourish, not just for 1 or 2 years, but can keep going. So those are my 2 points. I'll let you guys discuss it. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, it's just-
can
that's-
anyone disagree
No,
with
that's
that?
the universal truth. Keep
The
drafting
Rams
well.
didn't do that.
No.
But that's
I would disagree with that. I don't care how you build it. Just
Well, I know,
get
but
good players.
You need to draft well. Yeah,
that's the secret.
Well.
Yeah.
Like,
You-
but everybody just think keep your draft picks so you can be good forever. That's
Oh.
no, that's not really how it works.
Especially when you're picking 31,
I just need
63,
good players.
95.
Like, what did Chicago do?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Bought their roster.
And is that bad?
No, I mean they did. Like Colson Loveland's a good player, but
So was Luther Burden.
Yeah, I think that I'm kind of more on Paul's side of the street. Like I
Just find good players.
I also just like hear a lot of how like the roster's still like really far away, and I'm like I don't.
Oh, I don't think it.
No,
I don't agree.
Wouldn't you have said that last year?
Yeah,
of
and then,
course.
And then they went out and turned over 40% of the roster and had a whole new team.
Right.
And I think they already did that. Like we've already done that chapter.
But that means that they're not that far away.
Right.
So yeah, I would agree with that. They're not that far away, but to Todd's point here, so it's going to sound like I'm being hypocritical, but where I agree with Todd is you did that last year. Evan's right. They turned over almost half the roster. So you can't expect that that's going to be good going forward, because those guys that you brought in are like kind of in their prime, so they're going to be heading to the backside.
Yeah.
So you need to get some younger guys, like Vrabel said. You need younger, cheaper, better alternatives. But I don't just have to draft them, is what I'm saying. I rattled off a couple of 4- and 5-year guys in the league that I think would be good players. If you can replace a Harold Landry with a younger version of Harold Landry, it doesn't have to be a draft pick.
Yeah.
Do you know, like that's just an example.
I just think it's really like, and look, it happens and guys slip through the cracks all the time. But like when you're picking 31 and you're picking at the end of every single round.
That's what I was gonna say.
It's really hard to sit here and say, well, just draft Pro Bowlers, guys.
Yeah, right.
You know, if it was that easy.
People look at this draft, and first, let me just state for the record, I'm still I do what I always do in the draft, whether it's good or bad initially, and I let it play out a little bit before I just determine everything. But you got a bunch of guys who played a lot this year. You picked 4th. Like, to Evan's point, now you're picking 31st in every round. It gets a little harder to like come up with 8 guys that are going to play a lot.
Just draft all pros.
Yeah, right. Well,
just draft all pros.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that as I've jumped
why
into
I didn't think of it.
No, and then it's if you're willing to say we're in a position to draft like a potential right tackle replacement or a potential defensive end replacement, you go in with that attitude of we're now in the system where we have a pretty good team, but we have to keep stocking the shelves of the positions. To your point, the free agents last year that you signed, if you go into it thinking we're getting a starter at 31, you can't. That's why you need to supplement with the free agency. You got to find talent this year in free agency.
Right, and I think it's going to be hard to do because I don't think they're going to be as active and aggressive in free agency as they were last year for obvious reasons. I mean, they spent a ton of money in free agency last year.
But now, I just think that you just got to look at it like now, like exactly how Vrabel talked about it on All Access last week of like, they have a foundation. Like they've built the foundation of the house, and now they're refurbishing. They're finishing the basement.
Adding an addition.
Yeah, right. That's what we're doing. We're not going into this to make wholesale changes to the team where they have to turn over 40% of the roster again. You go out there, you go and you shop for the appliances and you finish the basement and you do hang the flat screens on the wall and make it a home, and that's what they're looking for now. And I think in the draft, Deuce nailed it. Like those are supposed to be picks that are for future 2 to 3 year projections. When you start talking, especially about days 2 and 3, like maybe at 31 they could draft a player that's going to contribute right away. But on all likelihood, you're looking at a lot of guys that we're going to draft a developmental tight end. We're going to draft a developmental right tackle. We're going to draft a guy on the offensive line that we think might be able to play left guard, or tackle or whatever.
Bill did it before he lost it.
Yeah.
He was able. I mean, Logan
staying ahead of the game.
Logan Mankins was 31 or 32, whatever. Bill was able to do it there for a while in the aughts.
Yeah.
Then when you turned into the teens, like it didn't go as well.
Yeah, that's the only exception I would say is that you never know who's going to fall through the cracks at 31, and there might be. It's a great edge class, as I've said. There might be a guy, but my expectation for an edge guy at 31 would be you're the third guy. You're the designated pass rusher. You're going to bring some young juice on early downs, kind of like what Ponder did earlier this year. But that to me is what's interesting.
So something
that somebody falls
have
through
to
the
be better
cracks.
than that, though.
Something that occurred to me, when you're drafting low in the first round, and like you said, they hit on Mankins. They also had Dante Scarnecchia as their offensive line coach. So do you weigh that and say, where's my strength in coaching?
Yeah.
And am I going to have higher percentage of succeeding with that draft pick, knowing that I'm putting him with my best coach?
I mean, hard to say on the offensive side of the ball, I'd say right now. I mean, I feel good about the quarterback situation, but I mean, what do we really know about these guys? I mean, Robert Kugler left too to go coach tight ends for the Steelers. It's a good question. I don't know on the offensive side of the ball what you would feel with Dante Scarnecchia. I mean, maybe if Marone sticks around, you feel like that, but they haven't earned that kind of it'll be fine. We got Doug Marone to coach him up yet. I mean, maybe he is that.
I think you're more optimistic about they have systems on both sides of the ball that they know inside and out.
Yeah.
And so you can watch guys now and prepare for the draft and say, this guy's going to fit a role. This guy's going to fit what we want them to do, which makes it so much easier to kind of streamline it. Like I was watching, Paul was making fun of me for watching the Toledo safety, but after I watched the Toledo safety, I watched the kid from Oregon, who's a really good safety as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that I was watching him, match routes in quarters and play the post and blitz and stuff, fit the run. And I'm like, these are all things that Patriots safeties do. This is exactly what they ask Craig Woodson and Jalen Hawkins to do every single week. And that makes it so much easier. And I think one of the reasons why, towards the end with Bill, but also then with the Gerard Mayo year, they didn't know what they wanted.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't know what kind of system they were trying to fit it into. They didn't have a vision for, like, this is a safety for Mike Vrabel. This is a defensive end for Mike Vrabel. And now when you start to watch these guys, you can really get a feel for that.
I felt that way with Keldrick Falk, that kid.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's standing up a little bit. He's hand down. I mean, just everything you saw those defensive ends this year do, you can see him do on his tape. So.
R. Mason Thomas from
he's
Oklahoma.
He's a nightmare.
Just screamer
athletic,
off the edge. Comes off the edge with great first step. Like exactly the type, Chazon Landry, like those types of players, 6'2", 250. Like that's what they're looking for now at that position. And I think that helps a lot.
Yeah. Cassius Howell, that's another one too.
Yeah,
that
that
kid
guy's
was
a
just,
beast.
I mean, he's going to be gone, but.
All right.
Never know.
Sabah in North Carolina. Bring it.
Uh-oh. Are we okay to Drake?
Hey there, gentlemen. I'm going to try to stay calm today. I just want to retract my Drake may have had irreparable damage comment. I like that other caller earlier. I was a little bit losing my head. I was so frustrated at how you guys didn't help Drake. But I got a few things, if you'll bear with me. Think about Patrick Mahomes got killed in the Super Bowl against Tampa when he had no offensive line. They were injured. And then got killed again against Philly. No one says that guy's bad. Jim Kelly got killed 3 times, once by my Redskins. John Elway got killed twice, once by my Redskins. And then people are saying that Drake May should never have gotten MVP. It would have been embarrassing as bad a game he had. Well, why don't you talk to Joe Theismann about that when he won the MVP and got slaughtered against the Raiders. And he played horrible that game. So an MVP is a regular season award. So the next thing I want to say is, y'all don't care about wide receiver. I don't care about defensive lineman. I don't care about Max. I want linemen. As they say in my Big Fat Greek Wedding, the man, that would be Drake, he is the head, but the wife, the offensive linemen, are the neck. And they make the head turn any way they want it. So without the offensive line, Drake May is not going to be anything. So we need to do something. So I looked up a couple of names, free agencies. Brandon Smith, Indianapolis, 6'6". He's 29 years old, came out of Auburn. He's a free agent. And Jonah Williams, he's out of Alabama. He's a tackle, and he is 6'5", and he's 28 years old. I want y'all's thoughts on that because we need to fix the line. You notice how I said we, right?
Yep. We're all in it together. Thanks, Sabah.
Jonah Williams had a series of injuries towards the end of this chapter of his career that have stunted. Braden Smith's a good player, plays right tackle. Short arm right tackle. Both Colts tackles actually have short arms. But he's a right tackle. I think the best move for them to make in the offseason on the offensive line is a left guard. I think I would invest and sign a veteran left guard to come into play next to Campbell, have Jared Wilson and Garrett Bradbury duke it out for center, split those two guys up.
Yep.
Give Campbell a kind of a security blanket next to him, a guy that's been there, done that. David Edwards from Buffalo is one guy that I circled, as a free agent target. Joe Tooney got traded last offseason, so who knows what veteran guard might be available. But, if you cite a guy like Braden Smith, he's replacing Morgan Moses, which, you could do. I just don't know if that's really fixing it.
Kind of shuffling.
Yeah.
Get a little younger.
One more tackle I want you guys. Rasheed Walker from Green Bay.
Yeah, he plays he played on the left side for them. Maybe he's another guy that you could bring into play right. I don't know if he's done it before. I don't believe so, but I'm looking at the interior offensive line. I think it's a little bit premature to start shaking up the tackles.
I like it.
If they can get a left guard that seasoned veteran knows what he's doing, and
then maybe give me a day 2 tackle. Give me a right tackle, developmental, but somebody that maybe Marcus Bryant develops, but somebody in the pipeline that you feel good about. You feel good about their size and that you can work with for a year. Yeah,
there's a couple guys at the back end of the first round at tackle that could be interesting to them too. Most of them play left. The kid from Clemson was interesting. He plays right.
Blake Miller?
He started every game going back to his true freshman year and didn't opt out of the bowl game. He's kind of one of those program type of guys.
Yeah, and what is it? It's 11 picks, right? So
too many
What do
picks.
they have, 7 day 3 picks?
They have 4 6-round picks right now.
Too many
picks. So I want...
They have 2 4s,
seven or 8 day 3
7.
picks, whatever it is, I want half of those on offensive linemen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because I mean,
Draft,
like
draft
just
3, 4, 5 guys, and hopefully 1 or 2 of them in 2 years are ready to play. There's a lot of day 3 offensive linemen starting in the NFL.
Yeah,
it's the one spot that you
And when
legitimately can draft and develop, and they start, and they're good starters.
Yeah. And even for the long-term plan, I mean, this will be his last year of his deal. I mean, I've seen some people suggesting the Patriots should extend him and redo his deal. I don't know about that, but just in terms of planning for, like, I like to look at who are the free agents next year. These are the guys you need to draft this year to be ready to offset those losses. Morgan Moses, Michael Onwenu going to be up.
I just if you want to make the argument that you could get younger than Morgan Moses, that's fine. I just don't look at this market and say you're going to upgrade Morgan Moses.
Right,
this
you're just going to kind of shuffle things.
Right.
To shuffle
so
them
it's like, okay, so it's a different name that didn't lose the Super Bowl, so we like him better. And I don't know if he's actually any better.
Santo is a clinical PhD in clinical psychology.
Oh.
So I want to read this email. He says, if there is one word I hate in sports talk, it's confidence. Confidence is a totally useless feeling. It's like a fair weather friend. When things are going well, it shows up, but when things are going south, it disappears. A better term should be competence. That is not a feeling, but a level of skill. Can you throw the deep ball and on target? Can you block well enough to keep the quarterback pocket clean? Can you catch the ball that is a little behind you? All these questions can be answered because they speak to measurable behaviors. Drake May is only 23. From the perspective of a 71-year-old man here, he's still a baby. Why should he be a leader at this stage of his career just because he's the QB? Leadership skills take time to grow and develop. Give it time. I think when Fred talks about being a cold-blooded killer, he might mean set aside emotions and execute your skills mechanically. If so, I agree. And by the way, that is also a measurable skill, a psychological one that could be developed. I know. I've worked with Olympic athletes to develop this skill. I've been a fan of the Patriots dating back to when they were kicked out of Fenway Park. First game I saw in real life was played at Harvard Stadium. The Chargers killed them. Later, the Jets with Joe Namath destroyed them, and I later found out Joe was drunk while doing it. He killed the Patriots, and he was drunk. Okay.
I don't agree with a lot of that.
Oh, Paul doesn't like it.
I don't. I mean, I have all the respect in the world for someone who obviously is doing these things for a living, but there's no such thing as confidence. Like, if you're confident that you can make a play, you don't think that increases your ability to make that your chances to make that play?
Well, I think what he's saying is your confidence comes from your competence.
No, I know, but so these guys all have the competence to play at a certain level that got them in the professional ranks.
Yeah.
So when things are going badly, sometimes people lose confidence, and it makes their job of turning it around more difficult. But guys that maintain their confidence by saying, I just missed 12 three-pointers in a row, but I'm a great shooter, and I'm going to make the next 12, have a better chance of making the next shot than the guy that says, this just ain't my day. I can't throw it in the ocean today. I think that matters. Now, a lot of people will look black and white and say, no, it doesn't. It's all about whether or not you make the next one. There's no, you don't have a better chance or a worse chance depending on your mind.
Momentum.
Your mindset doesn't have anything to do with it.
So where does the confidence?
I believe that it does.
Where does the confidence come from?
I think this is the chicken or the egg argument,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Yes. And so I don't know. That's why I kind of in the middle.
Someone
on this
who's
one,
never had
because-
success probably doesn't have as much confidence as someone who's seen success.
But again,
I've done it before. Even though I'm having a bad day, I know I can do this.
But we're dealing with a baseline of ability where people have all had success. The worst player in the NFL has had more successful days playing football than the average Joe. Okay? The worst player in the NFL has had more success than the average Joe. So he comes in with a level of confidence that he can do this.
Yeah.
But does he think he can do it consistently against the best? And if he doesn't think he can, that's going to make his task of doing it, in my view, more difficult.
Yeah.
If you don't think you can do it, you're not going to do it.
Right.
It's like the momentum argument, I feel. It's the same kind of thing where you can't really you can't really come up with a measurement of it, but
Yeah, and
some people believe in it, some people don't.
There's a black and white thing. I just feel like Drake May knows he can throw a deep ball. But if he doesn't think he's going to be able to throw the next deep ball properly, you think he's going to throw it as well as he did the one that he did think he could throw properly?
Yeah.
And like, they're not robots. They're not all, like, it's not just every play has the same chance to succeed because everybody goes in with the same mindset. I think there's so much that goes into this that's mental.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Chad from Schenectady. Drake has talked about wanting to earn the ability to lead before, even recently. He's still one of the youngest players on the team, and I think a lot of people would agree that being young, it can be weird and is definitely something that has to be learned for most people. I think as he gets older and more rooted in the team, that skill will continue to grow. You can be a vocal leader all you want, but if you play like 9 years old, I think no one wants to hear
he's
it.
Talking about JJ McCarthy.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
9.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. What's that all about?
He called himself. He calls himself 9.
I think. I don't know.
Nine.
Just,
Nine.
because that's like his competitive alter ego on the field. When he's
Like
on
something out of Stranger Things
When
or
he's on the field,
11.
he's not JJ anymore. He's 9.
So that's another part.
Talk about having confidence.
Another part of the previous
Talk
email,
about
by the
corny.
way, is the whole leadership thing at a young age. And I totally agree that Drake is young and he will learn and get better in terms of those kinds of things. But I don't agree that you can't have that if you're young. Like Tom Brady entered the league as a 4th quarterback on the roster, 6th round pick, and Bill was struck by his leadership. That was the number one thing that stood out to him, was his ability to take the rookie minicamp class. And yes, it does come just because you're a quarterback. A lot of guys are just natural leaders because that's what that position requires.
Yep.
Some guys come into Tom was a little older than Drake when he came into the league, but he was a nothing compared to Drake when he came into the league. He was a 6th round pick, the 4th quarterback on the roster. And the reason that Bill was so enamored with him was his leadership. That's what allowed him to stick around. So you can have it when you're young. Now, I'm not telling you that Drake can never develop it, because he hasn't necessarily shown that. I think as Vrabel said, I think he showed great strides in that department 1 year in.
Yeah.
This 1 year with Vrabel. So I think he'll get better and better at it, but I don't necessarily think you can't be a good leader if you're young.
Spee and Fresno, do you guys have a sense of the nature and severity of Drake's injury or injuries, as well as when they occurred? I don't know how much to factor that in when evaluating his postseason play. Like, we can discuss Drake's youth and loss of confidence, lack of clutch, but that should be in context of the injury. I know everyone plays hurt and great players rub dirt on it and carry on, but given how much Drake dropped off, I'd like to discern how much the injury versus wilting against tougher competition came into play.
I think that's a huge factor in the entire thing for him and Will Campbell. And the only people that can answer that are Mike Vrabel and probably Jim Whalen. And those people. But I think both those guys were, especially Campbell. I was actually looking at this yesterday, like his splits pre-injury versus post-injury. Now, you could also argue that he faced better competition post-injury, but I think that at the same time, you did see a pretty tangible drop-off in his performance, especially in pass protection from pre-injury to post. And so, they would need to decide that, in terms of how to move forward, not necessarily questioning Drake May, but especially with Campbell at tackle, how much of it was his knee and how much of it was that he had good players coming off the ball, across from him. And I think the same thing's true with Drake May.
So, Will, in Chicago, Paul kind of touched on this earlier about where they're drafting and, the difference between 31 and 4. But he said, did we hit well enough in our draft in comparison to previous years? Campbell, Henderson had flashes. Woodson, Farmer had promise until Farmer got hurt. If we hit that well and hit in free agency again, I don't see why we can't play well and make it back to the Super Bowl. Screw the harder schedule. We're going to roll over the AFC, no doubt. There is a big difference, though. If you do as well as last year, that's great, but it's going to be harder because it's 31 instead of 4. And I was just doing, if you add the numbers up, so 4 times 7 is 28. 28 versus 4 times 31 is 200 and whatever. Think of the difference in that number. That's the difference in the quality of guys that you have access to.
Yeah. We always say this all the time, but I'll say there are certain teams that draft well, that consistently, doesn't matter where they're picking, they find good players. And maybe they don't find 10 every draft class, but they're going to find 2 or 3 every draft class. And that to me is what it kind of comes down to.
Filled with guys that they drafted on a team that famously said F them picks.
Yeah.
They did draft some of them in the first round.
No, I know. Jared Verse was a great first round pick for them.
But I think the bigger point is if it was super easy to draft guys at the end of every round, then we would all be GMs and we'd be running teams right now because we'd be so good at it, right?
And, you know, and people will throw the Rams at you. Kansas City is where they are right now because they've struggled, you know, beyond,
Same way
say,
that Bill
like Trent
struggled.
McDuffie. You know, they've struggled to get guys in the 30s over the years.
It's exactly what happened to the Patriots. Like, when you pick down there consistently every single
Isaiah
year,
Wynn, Sony Michel.
you're starting to throw darts.
N'Keal
Like, you
Harry.
really are. Now, I think that it depends on where your line is. Like, I would say with the draft class last year, you know, I think it will be at tackle, but Will Campbell's going to be a starter in the league. I don't know if it will be at guard or it'll be at tackle long term. And I think Craig Woodson's going to be a starting safety in the league. Now, the other guys, I think jury's still out, / maybe Henderson's more of like a change of pace, you know, second running back instead of a true number one back. But they probably got at least 3 contributors. You know, however you want to say that. That's a good draft.
Probably more.
Yeah.
And if you're just saying contributors, you know, you could probably say Campbell, Henderson, Wilson, Woodson, Borregales, you know,
I'm not going specialist
even a long
yet.
snapper,
But
you know,
like,
Ashby.
If you consider those 4 guys as hits,
Yeah, I mean
then-
that's right. Like contributor,
Right.
I'm willing to say. Like I don't know how good all of those guys are going to be.
Right.
I
I agree with Evan's point,
Woodson was the one guy who, at the end of the year, I thought was really ascending.
Yep.
Whereas the other guys kind of leveled off or tailed off.
Yeah, that's why I talked to Arkand last week, and he was saying
you now?
Gonzalez was the only guy who showed up, and I said, Woodson. Put Woodson in there
Woodson
too.
definitely
Woodson
showed up.
for sure.
Do you think any of them hit the rookie wall? I mean, because when you think about it,
I wonder that.
you
Fred, to be
mostly
honest.
play in college 14 games, and you know, if you add in preseason, which rookies play, that was 24 games.
And the injuries to Wilson and Campbell dovetailed into when they would be hitting the wall. So was it injury? Was it that? I mean, it's trying to do the you know, afterwards, take the body apart, figure out what went wrong, and there's so many different little threads you can pull out. You know,
And part of it with the rookies that I don't think people talk about as much, and maybe I overrate it, maybe it's not that big a deal, but I think part of the reason why the rookie wall is such a thing is if you think about the end of the rookie, it's not just the 14 games to, you know, 20 or whatever it is, but they play their end of their schedule. Then they work out specifically for the combine. Then they have like all of this
pro day
stuff.
private
It's
workouts.
like there's no real off season in terms of rest. Then they go right into OTAs when they get drafted.
Rookie mini
And rookie mini camps and all that stuff, you know, to mini camp. They don't really have any time to reset.
Yeah, and they're either in the college football playoff or they're at a Senior Bowl or a Shrine Bowl. It's a long year.
Yeah, it is a long year.
Yeah. And I think that is just as much to do with it as like this season is longer than that season.
Yeah, it's the off season.
They don't
It's
do
a
that
full-
this year.
It's basically like a lot of those rookies haven't really taken a true break since the beginning of their last college season.
Right.
You know, like they start in August in college and they go all the way through the NFL
That's a great
season.
point.
Hey, thanks, Fred.
I think about that
great
too
point.
with Vrabel. Like, just I know this wasn't his first time coaching, but like gets hired, hires a staff, getting up to speed. You know, it was a long year for him too, having to put this all together.
Yep.
Someone asked
And then
me.
he went on vacation.
Good for him.
And then you go home.
Deserve it.
When you're done, you go home.
Where'd he go?
Darius writes in, I've seen a lot of people say we should cut Diggs even without restructuring his contract, and I think that's kind of dumb. The right thing to do in my eyes is keep him as a number 2, try to get a number 1 to pair with him. He still has value being on the roster and is still a better receiver than anyone on our roster now.
From strictly a football standpoint, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Like if you're just looking at it as a football thing, I think this is one of the things that's going up my backside. Like the $26 million cap hit on Stephon Diggs. If you think that he's a good football player, then why do you care? They have $40 million in cap space.
Yeah.
They have plenty of money to throw around. So they don't start pinching pennies for our employer, okay? Like they're all good.
It's all
right.
good,
They have plenty of cap space. If you think that he's washed, if you think that he can't play anymore, that's a different
argument.
If you think he's not a good guy off the field, different argument. But if you think that he's going to be a good football player like he was for them this year.
I'm in line with that theory.
Well, then I'm with
Get
that
somebody
guy.
better than him and have him be a clear number two.
Or have him be the inside guy and have Alec Pierce play on the outside or A.J. Brown play on the outside or whoever.
I get all the criticism of him. I just have a hard time saying this is the first guy to have a 1,000-yard season here.
Right, and now we're
6
quick to
years,
get
and
rid
it's
of
like,
him.
you know, and I get it. Like, I know he disappeared
I just don't
in some big
understand
games,
bringing
but,
up the money. Like,
Right.
if you want to bring up what's going on off the field and say that this is, it's better to get out now, then that's a solid
Sure.
argument. If you start bringing up cap hits, I'm like, what are we talking
Yeah,
about?
the Diggs argument isn't about what he did. It's what you think he's going to do. And I am 1,000% with Evan here. If you think that he's still, going to be that player for you, then why? I don't know why you would want to move on unless something happens off the field. With this, I don't want to make light of, his impending trial or whatever, how that all plays out. I mean, I'm not making light of that at all. But if it's football reasons, and you think you could get better than him, I would agree. I think you can
Make him number two.
I think he very well could have another 1,000-yard season, which to me, as you know, if it's going to be on 100 catches again, like yawn, like that doesn't really do much for me if it's not
Paul's
enough
12 and
plays.
4. Just boring.
It kind of is. I'm not going to lie. That's kind of true. That's kind of accurate.
I don't know. 100
Paul's
catches
over
is
1,000 yards
100 catches.
85 catches for 1,000 yards
Guy
to
had
me.
like 50 first down.
Now we've gone down 15 catches.
Well, that's what he had, 85
I know,
catches.
but if
for
you said
1,000
100
yards.
catches, I'll take a guy with 100
Well,
catches.
my point is 10 yards a catch doesn't really do much for me.
I'll take
if
it.
that's my best guy. Now, if I have a guy that's, averaging, that maybe has, 1,000 yards on, on 15 yards a catch and making dynamic plays all over the field, then that's different. Now this number two guy is Wes Welker.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a little different
From
for
a
me.
football standpoint, that's
Or
to me,
Julian
that's what
Edelman with Gronk.
That's what they should be trying to do, in
right.
my opinion. Is Diggs in the playoffs, I think, started to see a lot of extra attention in the middle of the field. Teams bracketing
usual, he
him,
does it better than
doubling him, rotating the safeties
So
into the windows
opportunity.
that he's trying to throw into. So now if you have one-on-ones on the outside because they're clamping down on Diggs, but you have a better receiver that's playing outside, well, now you pick your poison, right? You have the guy over the top of the outside receiver and take your chances with Diggs or vice versa.
And I'm not going to say he's going to go back to being what he was, but is it worth mentioning he was first year off an ACL? I mean, usually I give a guy a year to, be back to 100%. I don't know if he's getting back to that level,
I would just
but
say if you look back to his last 3 years, that's what he is.
Yeah.
He's
I just
more of a
think
10
that
yards a
but
catch
if
guy
he's
than the
that
15
guy-
yards that he used to be.
If he's that guy, but there's somebody taking attention away from him that's playing on the outside, I just think that that's perfectly functional.
Yep.
Like that's going to be
If
a
that's my
really
number
good
two guy,
offense.
I'm all for that. Now I think I have the makings of a dynamic passing attack.
Yeah.
All right, on the phone is Christian from L.A. What's up, Christian?
Hey, you guys.
Hey.
I wanted to let you guys know the update. I went with my gut, and I took the tickets for next year and didn't go to the Super Bowl up there. I chose to take tickets and try to go this year when it's at SoFi. If I was there and I had spent $7,000 and the game turned out the way it did, I would have just been beside myself. So I think I made the right choice. I'm sorry we lost, but I think we're going to be back. And here's what I mean by that. You guys, I know you're not going to agree with me, but I just got to address some nonsense here. Robert Kraft made a man's decision last year when he said to a potentially great coach, 1 year, you got to go. I don't have time to wait for you to develop. And he got rid of Gerard Mayo, and he got Mike Vrabel, and we saw what happened. We made a similar mistake as I think we're making now with Cole Strange. Because we drafted him high.
Me and Will
people laughed
Campbell.
at us and so on and so forth. I'm sorry?
You mean Will Campbell?
No, Cole Strange.
Cole Strange isn't on the team anymore.
Exactly my point. Because we drafted Cole Strange high and everyone laughed at us, we kept him way too long. We hoped he would develop. We said if we put people on either side of him and give him some help, he'll develop. Well, guess what happened? He's not on
He
the
got
team.
hurt twice.
We made the
Well, and it's not a kind of apples to apples.
Are we
I mean,
talking
you
about
can get
Will
away
Campbell
with
or Cole Strange? I
They
can't
didn't.
really tell.
They didn't keep Cole Strange too long.
But even
He
if
got
they
hurt.
did, you can get away with holding on to a guard too long more than a head coach.
Yeah, and no one thought that Gerard Mayo had the potential to be a great coach.
Yeah.
I haven't made point yet.
Yeah, I think
that's
so far the only thing we agree with is that we weren't going to agree with you.
I'm just
Normally when
confused.
people
That's
say
why
that,
I said
I
that.
automatically say, I'll bet you I agree with this, but I don't really, like,
Anyway, keep going,
it's a little
Christian.
strange.
We'll let you go.
So the point I'm making is this. We need to just rip the Band-Aid off now.
Of what?
Of course, be in development stage with Will Campbell for 2 years. Let's put someone on the side of him on this side. Let's put a guard on the inside of him, a new tight end on the outside, and let's let this guy develop. We are not in development stage anymore, guys. We are a Super Bowl competing team. We need to keep competing, and I'm sorry to say this. I like Will. He's a great kid, but we can't wait 2 years for him to develop. That's all I got to say about that.
Okay.
About the draft. Here's the other thing that I want to address about the draft, and then I'll get off the air. We have 11 picks.
Too many.
That means 11 chances, right, to get someone that maybe won't even play. Guys, why are we stuck on this arcane method of drafting? Why don't we take 5 of those 11 picks that we have, package them, try to find a partner to help us move up in the draft? Again, we are not in developmental stage anymore. We are not, we made it 2 years.
Well,
picks don't really have that kind of value.
Yeah,
they have
what do
4
you,
6-round picks.
What
It's
trade?
not-
Where do you want to move to in the draft?
I think if we gave up, 5 of those 6 rounds.
Yeah, no.
I mean, when's the last time, besides Tom Brady and Russell Wilson, a 6th-round
No,
guy?
so, all right, so you want to trade the 4 6th-round picks. Okay, so now you got a 5th-rounder. What are you going to do with it?
I don't want a 5th-rounder. I want to trade the 6th-round picks, maybe even the 5th, and try to get a 3rd-rounder.
Okay, well, I mean,
that'd be great.
Yeah.
I think you know my line about this one, about my aunt. And
Yeah.
She'd
be your uncle.
Yeah.
She had a certain
Thanks,
something.
Christian.
She'd be my uncle.
Yeah, that's the volume of
6th-round
picks.
picks to get to the 3rd round.
Yeah.
I saw Cole Strange 17 games, 10 games, 4 games. I mean, just he was hurt.
So,
Like, it
and
was-
again, Cole Strange was a bad pick.
I was confused about where he was.
Well, it was
going.
a bad
That's my
pick for where they picked him.
Well, yeah,
No, he was
he
a
acted
bad
like
pick.
they
He was a
kept
bad
rolling him
pick.
out there.
Yeah, it was a
like,
bad pick.
But yeah, it's not like he started every game for 3 years because he was a 1st-round pick. He kept getting hurt. Yeah. They never could figure out if can this guy not stay healthy? Does he have the ability to play? Turns out he was not worthy of the 1st-round pick, and he couldn't stay healthy. I don't think that they held on to him too long.
I mean, they were trying to play him at center. I mean, they were trying to
I
figure it
also
out.
just would say, like, I think Will Campbell's played a lot better at left tackle than Cole Strange
So,
ever played.
and
at
I would
left
also
guard.
say, just to be fair, and I won't just say all disagree with everything that Christian said. If they think that they can get better than Will Campbell at left tackle, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, just 7 6-round picks to get a
But
1st-round
yeah,
pick.
I mean, like this whole
We're
like
picking on Christian. Right?
we love him.
I didn't know where he was going.
I would
with
also
it.
say,
I'm
like,
gonna lie.
you know, like this archaic way of drafting. Well, first of all, we don't really know exactly how this regime is going to. They had one draft.
Yeah.
Let's see. Maybe they think like you and they feel like their roster's at a better spot. We don't need to make 11 picks. Maybe they're going to
No,
only end
you
up.
don't.
Maybe
You
you're only going to end
definitely
up making 8 picks. Maybe they will trade up 2 or 3 times in this draft. And
I
lose
promise
some
you,
picks.
they don't need to take 11 guys.
No.
Well, they don't for our sake.
It is
for sure,
for
but-
anybody's sake.
It is one of the really hard things to figure out a guy like Jared Wilson and say, do we believe that he, with a little time, is going to be a plus center or a plus left guard, you know, and having to make that decision now. But I hate the general sentiment. I hated it when I was blogging that people say, if the rookie stunk as a rookie, he's always going to stink, and no one's ever going to get better, and they are what they are, and so just get rid of them now. You know, you got to pick the right guys to give
So
time to. I understand the point of that.
I strongly agree with that.
You know?
I also agree with the other side. If the guy plays right away, doesn't mean
Right,
you know, like
right,
Isaiah
and
Wynn.
that's right. And so you got to
know,
pick the
like-
right guys. It's a hard decision. I mean, like, you know, Josh Farmer. I don't know. We saw little of him this year. Do they still think, man, he was coming? You know, I don't know.
I don't know what Isaiah-
I don't know.
Joshua
I don't know what any of
Farmer
these
was.
guys are. But maybe they believe in. You know, I'm just picking a random one. I mean, I think Will Campbell's a different example because he's a 4th overall pick, and
I
everybody
also think
knows
he's just
a,
played better than all these
Yeah,
guys.
right.
And like especially pre-injury. Like I think the Will Campbell that we're thinking of is obviously the guy that played in the playoffs and didn't play well in the playoffs. But for the first 12, 13 weeks of the season, he was not playing like he did in the playoffs. And
No,
and
he
I
wasn't that bad.
Yeah, and I would just say, you know, with guys that are picked high in the draft, you are going to give them more leash. That's just the
Well, with the
that's
4th
just
pick of the draft, I mean, I'm sorry,
nature of
that's
the
just-
beast.
That's the way it works.
And
He's going to get more opportunities than Marcus Bryant, who was picked in the 7th round.
And can you like start like this is the time of year where we got to put names to claims, man.
Yeah,
like
right.
if you're gonna move,
Just upgrade him.
Yeah, like if you're gonna move him, if you're gonna move on from him or whatever dramatic thing you want to say, like you have to be able to have an answer at left tackle. Like so, who's gonna play left tackle?
I'm
Darian
Team
Lowe?
Will. I'm Team Will. He's going to do what he needs to do to get better in the offseason, get healthy.
Who was that?
He'll be good.
I'm team.
I'm Team Will.
I'm Team Will.
I'm with you,
That's what
Fred.
Fred said.
I thought you were saying the name of a guy.
I
who was
just think that,
on
like-
team.
I'm Team Will. He's
team.
a free agent, right?
Yeah, we're gonna
I'm
sign him
Team
on
Will.
team.
He
I
was
love
just trending in such a fine direction before he got hurt.
Yeah.
And so, and not saying it's all just on the knee, but like, can we at least acknowledge the fact that he was playing on a bum knee, and then he was also playing the best pass rushers in the NFL on a bum knee? So like, let's see what he looks like. Could start next season. Does he look like the guy that was pre-injury, or does he look like the guy in the playoffs?
Yeah. All right. Let's go to Brad in Ohio. He'll be our last caller. What's up, Brad?
That late?
Hello, fellas. How we doing today?
Okay.
Brad?
I'm going to make it brief because I know we're about out of time. So I think, first of all, Josh was hamstrung calling plays in the Super Bowl for the exact reasons you've all been discussing. Number one, that was so obvious. And then for McDaniel's offense, he's a running game-oriented guy. So I would want, hopefully, that we draft where we're going to be drafting a blocking tight end that can catch two. And then I wanted to ask Evan about a fullback that plays for Michigan, Max Bredesen, that I would love to see in a Patriots uniform in Josh McDaniel's offense. And that's all I got, guys.
I like the Indiana kid.
Okay. Thanks, Brad.
Yeah, let's see about fullback. They got Brock Lampy still technically under contract with the team, and I think they thought he was going to be the fullback. They really felt like that. They had the guy already with Lampy, so we'll see what happens there. But that goes back to my point I was making earlier. Like, is that the type of offense you want to be? Like, do they want to be under center, 21, two back, fullback behind the quarterback? Like, is that the way they want to play? I don't know. We'll find out.
We will find out.
Tune in on
and
Thursday.
we'll be back on Thursday. Catch 22 this week?
Tomorrow.
Because I know Barth has said he was sick.
What? He's fine.
Yeah.
He told you he was sick?
He was on air. He was telling people he got really sick coming back from the Super Bowl. The other thing I want to know...
Must have been sitting next to you on the radio.
Has Taylor Kyles got his account back?
He did, and he got it back yesterday, and he posted a picture with like him holding up a piece of paper, and it was like, it's actually me or whatever, to like prove that it wasn't like a bot.
So, but the real question is, would he rather lose the account and have the Mercedes?
Ooh, shoot. That's a lot of work.
I think that'd be worth it.
Knowing Taylor,
but he can't post film anymore, so
maybe
maybe
have the account. I think he spent a lot of his life building up that account, but he can't post film anymore. That's a good point.
So
I think you and Barth should have guests, and you should bring in Taylor once in a while.
We'd be happy to.
No.
Why not?
There can be only
have
one.
Him call in.
Yeah.
Let's have them all work for the organization. Seems like they do anyway.
Wow.
I did not say that.
Wow.
Prank caller.
I don't know that.
Somebody hack Paul. All right.
I'm taking my vouch back.
We'll talk to you on Thursday.
Hey, this is Deuce. Thanks for tuning into the show. If you really want to help us, make sure you like us wherever you get your podcasts, like Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, make sure you follow us on the New England Patriots YouTube channel to see this show and everything else that we do here at the Patriots. Thanks a lot.